Two, check. Two. Hello. Hello, chat, are you there? Let's get this going. Let's get this going. How are you doing? What is up? What's going on? That good, huh? Well, I'm glad to hear it. Stuck in a parking lot waiting for my mom. Sounds very fun. Sounds very fun and cool. Is this a recording? Well, I guess reading from the chat proves that it is not, but... What the hell, man? What the hell's going on? What the hell's going on? Seriously, I can't take this shit. Everything is so fucking weird. What has been the last couple of weeks? It's just been absolutely insane. It's very funny how we went from barely paying attention to this election. It was like an afterthought election. And just in the last couple of weeks, just like crazy shit just keeps happening.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
What's going on? Crazy Frog theme plays.
K Chewy, thanks for the 14 months. Thanks for the 14 months of tier 1. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, man. Very silly. I don't have too much to report about personally. Last night was pretty boring. I didn't really get up to anything. I didn't even really have much of a dinner. I was just kind of relaxing. I played some video games. I've been playing NBA 2K 24 because I got NBA 2K24 like very cheap, and I'm finding it very frustrating. I don't know. I've been playing those 2K games for like years and years. I find it very hard though. Like it's so hard just to get an open shot, and then I'm just like I'm taking open shots with good players and just missing. I'm shooting like 20-30% from the field. It's so obnoxious. One thing that pisses me off about it too is that, like in the previous games, you're just going based on like if you're taking a shot, you're just basically just really eyeballing it and releasing the shot at the top of the highest point of the jump or whatever. I hate that there's a little green bar to like that I'm looking at now. So every time I take a shot, I'm looking at this tiny little green bar. Oh, I got to fill up the green bar. I don't know. It's like if it takes away from it. And I'm just like humiliating myself. I created myself in the game like I always do. And my player is good. My player is good, but then I'm working my tail off to get open shots, and then I'm bricking open shots. And then as you actually get an open look, you actually get an open layup, and you're missing layups and stuff. And it's like, what the fuck's with this game? I hate the green bar BS. It's true. I'm trying to look at the game. I don't want to look at squint at a tiny little green bar. You know? Just turn down the difficulty, but I should be able to play. I don't want it to be easy. I just want to be able to make shots. Like, why am I playing this? I'm playing a game, a basketball sim, to enjoy myself and just bricking open shots repeatedly. It's very frustrating, chat. It's very frustrating. I'm thinking about going, if it's the Philip Seymour Hoffman, that's my guy. But it's not just my created player, it's like everyone. Like I can't fucking do it. Might as well practice your shot IRL. I mean, this is what I mean. I play for escapism. You know what I mean? I got a moving screen violation on one. I finally got open for a look and got a moving screen violation. It's like, why am I getting a moving screen call in this game? Like, why is that? How is that enjoyable? I'm thinking about becoming a Madden guy. Now that I'm watching more football again, I haven't played a Madden game in a long time. I get a lot of Madden content on like TikTok. I get a ton. I'm like, TikTok is trying to Madden pill me. I might get into that this year. Also, I'm playing with the Raptors in the game, and it's just I don't know how to do anything with anybody. Like Emmanuel Quickley's a really good 3-point shooter. I have not made a 3-point shot with Emmanuel Quickley in like 4 or 5 games. I just can't make a shot. It's so fucking annoying. Why is college football better than Madden? Is it just the teams, or how does it work with the licensing? Do they have actual players in college football? Like, are they actually compensated for their likenesses being used and stuff now? Or are they like, is it like fake players? Now you know the Trump shooter. I had an open look. Oh, the players get $600 and a copy of the game if they opt in. Oh, that's nice. Out there generating multi-billion-dollar TV contracts, selling AAA games for $90 a pop. Here, take your $600 and you copy the fucking game, kid. Shut up. That's great. The game is better, but how is the game better though? What's the difference between the actual game? I guess I would just rather play an NFL game because I actually know the teams and I know the players a little bit. Their compensation is literally $600 and a free copy of the game. I mean, it's really scandalous, isn't it? Like, it's not just the TV contracts. It's not just multi-billion-dollar TV contracts. It's the stadium gate. The schools are getting fucking billions as well. The coaches are like, often these football coaches are like the highest paid public employees in like any given state. The coaches are making tens of millions of dollars. The players they're generating billions of dollars. It's like, what, you get a scholarship to this school. You get $600 and a copy of the game. What are you complaining about? And how many of these college players go on to make NFL money? Well, 10%? 5%? Their scholarships also aren't guaranteed for 4 years. If they get injured and can't play, they have to pay for their college or drop out. Yeah, or yeah, if you're on, just don't worry. Just like, don't complain. You're going to make the NFL and you're going to make millions. Unless you get injured, then it's like, well, it sucks to be you. You can work at a car dealership or something, I guess. Thanks for the billions of dollars of profits that you helped us generate, though. You could be the QB of Brockville State. I in my 1 year of playing football, my 1 season of playing high school football, I did enjoy it. I quit because it was just too much practice. We had to practice every single day, and I wasn't dedicated enough to want to do that. It was fun to play, though. I was not the quarterback, though. I don't disagree, but that's not the only money they're getting. Some of these guys are making millions now. Yes, some. Some are. The NCAA allows name, image, likeness deals now. Players can get millions for playing in college now. I think if you still looked at the proportion of like income that they're generating for the schools and the networks, it would still pale in comparison. Football star Rob. I did look quite fetching in the uniform, I'll tell you that much. If you don't mind me saying so. If you don't mind me tooting my own horn here. Picture right. Oh, this old thing? Oh, I just have this lying around. Yeah. Oh, this old thing? Oh, wouldn't you know? I have a copy. I have a picture just right there. That was me. My 1 year I played high school football. I was not a linebacker. No, I played mostly on the offensive line. It was like one of the most boring positions. I played like center sometimes and was like on the offensive line. I wanted to do other stuff. I wanted to be a running back or whatever. I'm pretty athletic, but I could never get out of that extremely boring assignment. I guess it's important. I guess you need to have a good offensive line in order to have a good offense, but I wanted the glory. I wanted the ball. I wanted to score a touchdown. It's what it's about me. I want to be the center of attention. Me. Not the quarterback, not the running back, not the wide receiver. I wasn't built for the grind of playing O-line, ran from the grind. That's exactly right. Yeah, throw me the fucking ball. Well, that's it. That's why I quit football to just focus on basketball, because that's when I was like an actual feature of the offense. I was getting buckets out there. My anthro program for my first degree couldn't afford field school supplies for our archaeological digs, but our dog shit football team that never won always got funded millions, so that was cool. I'm sure the locker room was just pristine. Just a beautiful palatial locker room. Wants to shoot hoops instead of getting concussed several times per game. Soft. I played local baseball in middle school, and my team was sponsored by a medical practice called Urology Associates. Our uniforms were yellow, and all the other kids made fun of us. Oh, Huskers on the P team. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry, Husker. That sounds really awful, actually. It's hard enough being a kid worrying about getting made fun of and all this stuff. Let's put them in P uniforms as well. I also played a bit of soccer. I played a bit of soccer. I played on the Jay's Barbershop soccer team. And I was just never that good. Basketball was the only sport I was actually good at. I think I got 2 goals in my like probably 6 to 7 years youth soccer career. I think I got 2 goals the entire time. A tri-sport athlete. Well, it's the same thing with like most of my life. Jack of all trades, master of none. I played a lot of sports. I was not very good at the sports, but I did play a lot of the sports, though. I did make a game-winning shot in a basketball tournament I was at one time. Fading away on the baseline behind the backboard. It's no big deal, though. Whatever. Who cares, right? You know? I'd never even think about it. I never even think about any of that stuff. This is why you get the big bucks on Twitch. Yeah, look at me now. Look at me now. Here I am trying to make a little number go up on twitch.tv every day of my life. Every single day of my life. It's good that you didn't peak in high school. I mean, that is true. I always had a kind of pity for the people that I did grow up with that I felt never got out of that kind of high school mentality. It was weird. I really walked in multiple worlds. Like I grew up in this kind of small town, you know. I had those experiences in high school, you know, being a sports guy and doing all this stuff, but I just was in that mentality that like I cannot wait to get out of here. As long as I remember, I felt that way about Brockville. I cannot wait to get the fuck out of here. And I did. You know, as soon as the moment I graduated, I was just like, goodbye. And I never really looked back. I haven't even begun to peak. And when I do peak, you'll know. That's right. Seriously, though. I do kind of feel that way, like legitimately, even if it might be delusional. How big is Brockville? It was like, I guess when I was living there, I think it's grown a little bit since I was there. I think it was like a population like 22,000, 23,000 when I was there. Not like a small town, but not a big city either. That's such a small town. I mean, it is kind of, but like there's certainly smaller towns in the area. It's not near a big city. It's like it's near Kingston, Ontario, which is kind of big. It's somewhat near Ottawa, which is kind of big. But it's not like I was going on big trips to Kingston all the time, you know. It's like Kingston is not that exciting. Right next to Suplex City. That's correct. Because it's Brockville. There we go.
This is some guy, Rob Russo, some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
I grew up in a city that was like 500K people, but it had all the small town, everyone knows everything drama. So it was like the worst of both worlds. Left Flank Vets, thank you for the raid. Marcus, hello. What's up, Left Flank Vets? It's me. Look at this. We're praying for our boy to get better. He's going to be back on his feet in no time. The president is fine. He's fine. Stop asking questions. Stop asking questions about it. It's disrespectful. He's fine, okay? It's totally normal. It's totally normal that like 3 days ago he was like, no, I'm never going to drop out. I'm never going to do it. It's not going to happen. Only God will tell me when it's time.
You can count on me.
Yes, I'm running.
Good old Rob to talk
I'm not listening to the donors. I'm not listening to the...
TRRS Sankara left FL1LFV salute.
I'm not listening to the donors. I'm not listening to the celebs or the media. I'm staying in. I'm okay. I'm fine. And then he just randomly quits via tweet and then is just never seen again. I think that's totally normal. Stop asking about it. It's fine. The president is just fine, okay? And it's literally it's racist for you to suggest otherwise. Mindfad, thanks for the 12 months of Prime. Thank you.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
And Anon, thanks for the gifted sub as well. People are being mad racist. It's disgusting, honestly, Marcus. How dare you? We were talking about this yesterday, but the dynamic between 5 days ago being like, how dare you say the president's old? He's not old. He's fine. He's in great shape. Versus like, okay, well, what's going on with this? Isn't it kind of weird that isn't it kind of weird that 5 days ago he was all in on still running and he was doing all these interviews and they were blasting him with spray tan and slicking his hair back and injecting with Botox and he's going out there going, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. And then we see him getting stuffed into a car. And then 2 days later, he quits via tweet. And with no speech, no short video, no Oval Office address for this totally unheard of situation. No, that's totally normal, though. Stop asking about it. How dare you ask about that? He's old and feeble. He got laid low by COVID. You know how it is. Did he, though?
Count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Did he get laid low with COVID, or did they just say he got COVID to explain the fact that he was like sick for multiple weeks and now is like completely just out of the picture? T-minus 2011, thanks for the gifted sub as well. This motherfucker had COVID for a decade. I mean, he was sick as well during the debate, which was multiple weeks ago. Multiple weeks. Do you think it's good for like 81-year-old men who are like barely functional anymore to have respiratory infections for multiple weeks? Is that like a normal good thing that happens? He was tired. He had gone on a plane like 2 weeks before that. It's just a stutter. I think he did get COVID because he was just bragging about how he defeated COVID. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But the fact that he hasn't been seen, that he quit so suddenly, no video, no Oval Office address, nothing, and then quit suddenly after multiple weeks of being like, no, I'm not quitting. It's fucking insane. It is hilarious that people are acting like, what? There's nothing untoward going on here. What's going on? Don't stop conspiracy theorizing. You're being a conspiracy theorist. There was a movie made for this, Dave. That's right. Maybe they're going to replace Biden with an equally ancient man. They're going to do the body double thing. Just get Kevin Kline. Maybe Kevin Kline can do it. Kevin Kline's a great actor. You can give him with the movie magic, some prosthetics and makeup and stuff. Kevin Kline could do it. Didn't Biden address the DNC at that recent event via video? Audio. He addressed via audio, and there's all kinds of weird shit about it. And this is the kind of thing where it's like, the weirdness of this elite ruling class leads to people baselessly speculating on it. Because they're so secretive, and there's obviously more going on, and then just invite people to baselessly speculate it on and conspiracy theorize it like me. If they were just honest, no one would have questions, but there's clearly something else going on. Biden in audio-only mode. He's also, I don't know if you saw, they also just passed some resolution taking Biden's powers to deal with the Ukraine weapons situation and offloading them to the Secretary of State. Did we see this as well? What the hell is going on? The hell's going on, chat? What? I haven't even watched this clip because I was waiting to watch it with you, chat. This is how much I care about this community. So here's the moment where he calls in to this event.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do, everybody here does.
It's mutual.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe. Oh. It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call.
I know you're still on the call. Joe, I know you're still here on the call. It's an E-Bombs World soundboard. That's a classic reference. Let's just one more time. And again, we don't need to be spreading conspiracy theories or disinformation or whatever about this, but they make it impossible not to. K Chewy, let's listen again.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call.
Oh, I know you're still on the the live call that we're doing right now. I'd lose it if they press the who's your daddy and what does he do? Yeah, some aide is like press the wrong soundboard button. No, I'm here. I'm here. I don't have COVID. No. Kamala, I officially endorse. What the hell's going on here, folks? What the hell's going on? No, Marcus. Oh, and like if you have his voice, why not throw him on video? If he's there, why not? Why have an audio? Why have a conference with the disembodied voice?
You can count on me
of the
You're
president,
good old Rob, to talk you through all this
on speakerphone. Are you fucking kidding? Marcus, thank you for gifting a sub. That's very kind of you. Thank you, Marcus, and thank you for the raid too. I really appreciate it. Was that for my Arnold impression? It's fun to talk to ghosts. Yeah, we can only talk to the president via Medium now. We're bringing in the presidential Ouija board. Oh, this is how we're going to communicate with the president now. You have a Ouija board in the Oval Office. It's not very reassuring of health to just have a phone call. It is insane. What the fuck's going on, chat? What is going on? This is hilarious, though. Man. It's so silly. We all saw the Trump Biden AI Twitch channel. Well, I don't know if anyone saw this as well. And so this is a real clip, though. There's a lot of fake stuff going on right here. This was very real, though. Let me just scroll here for a sec. I find that, yeah. What are you talking about? The president's fine. The president's fine. What are you talking about? Look at this. See, he's fine. He's fine, so stop asking. Stop asking about it. He's fine. Man, what a funny situation. This election has gone from being like very boring to me to like very exciting. He's gonna call in. He's gonna call in on VC to the event, to the campaign event. Incredible. By the way, if anyone else wants to subscribe to the channel, folks, just while we're getting started here, before we move on, might as well let you folks know that if you can, please subscribe to this program so we can continue talking about these important events, these important political events, these historic moments like right now. If you want to support that, you're not getting this kind of content on CNN or MSNBC or CBS or Fox News or Newsmax. This is the only place that you can get this kind of content, this kind of very serious analysis. That's right, St. Lotus. It's the only place you can get it. So if you can, please subscribe to this program. Help me keep this show on the air. You can subscribe or give subs. You can join the community. It's Twitch's only two-dimensional triangle-shaped friendship access and trickle-down cloud tiered reward system. Every little bit helps. You help keep this kind of content on the air. The Q people watching this must be something. I mean, the Q people are in heaven right now. Just the last couple of weeks with the Trump assassination and all the kind of conspiracies around that. And now this, like, these people are just like in ecstasy right now.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Resubbing for more Chinese Biden content.
They're going to have Biden in a back to tank till January. Narrator, thanks for the 18 months of Prime. Thank you. Our conspiracy is wild about dead president theory. Well, and how could you not be? It's like... And what makes me feel crazy is people acting like it's not a big deal. Don't talk about this. Don't talk about this. This is all totally normal.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob
it's
to
really
talk you
not.
through all this.
I'm glad the Trump assassination is a footnote a week later. That is very funny as well.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
They really thought they were just going to ride that to an easy victory, and people have already just lost interest.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Sunny Sola, thanks for 3 gifted subs. Very, very cool. Thank you, Sunny Sola. I mean, he has COVID, right? Probably a long recovery time for an 82-year-old. Well, does he? I don't know. Maybe. Nevertheless, it's completely unprecedented for Biden for weeks being like, I'm not going to drop out. I'm not going to drop out. I'm not going to drop out. To be last seen being stuffed into a car, 2 days later, quitting via tweet and with no video address or anything else. Like, that is just fucking weird. Unintended side effect of letting mass shootings fester in the U.S. An assassination attempt was made and we all barely gave a shit. Yeah, and it's one of the exact same profile of a lot of what these other would-be or successful mass shooters often have. Although, you know what? That is another thing where there's a lot of weird stuff going on with that. All the stuff with the way that this guy was like known to the Secret Service and the way this guy was allowed to get up there and take that shot. And just the idea that like there's no social media footprint whatsoever. Do we believe that? Do we really believe that? I don't know. There's something fucking weird going on with that as well. There's plots within plots and psyops within psyops happening right now. And it's not a pro-Trump thing to recognize that. It really isn't. Like I've talked about before, Trump did clash with like elements of the deep state. Ooh, the deep state. The security state, the 3-letter agencies, the CIA, whatever you want to call it, the military-industrial complex. That doesn't mean that there is a conspiracy, but there's certainly some really fucking bizarre things going on about that story. that 20-year-old awkward kid was known by the SS. Well, Jeremiah, I mean more that they saw him on the roof. There was like a timeline where they saw this kid on the roof like an hour before. Like they clocked this kid an hour before the actual shooting took place. How was he allowed to take the shot in the first place? It's insane. People can be bad at their jobs, and that's totally true. I mean, as we see often with America, the incompetence is like part of the psyop, right? When you say, oh, this was just a massive fuck up. Perhaps it was. Perhaps 9/11 was a massive fuck up, you know? Maybe it's just a matter of these different intelligence agencies. You have like 20 different fucking agencies, all with different agendas and different ideologies, and they're not talking to each other. Maybe we just messed up, but then you take advantage of the mess up, you know? When the mess up happens, the fuck up happens, and it's like, well, we might as well use this as an excuse to print a lot of money for the military industrial complex yet again. I guess not, you know? So perhaps incompetence does play a role in these things, but that almost seems like part of the conspiracy. So there's all kinds of weird shit going on right now. And like we would be, if anyone else was, you know, a victim of that like attempted assassination, we would be asking the exact same questions, especially if it was someone that we actually liked and thought was good. Speed running the decline. There's just so much weird shit going on right now. There's very weird stuff with the Trump assassination. There's really weird stuff with Biden stepping down. I feel like I'm having an out-of-body experience right now. I'm dissociating. It's not that weird. I think it's weird. I think it's weird that like there's a known timeline now of like the Secret Service being fully aware that there's this kid. All the videos of the people like pointing at him and stuff. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Getting close to the week where decades happen. I think we've just been living through weeks of decades happening for like multiple months now. Maybe multiple years. I think in terms of like the time distortion effect of the decades happening in weeks, we've passed centuries now. Now? Really weird. You don't just let someone aim a gun towards a former president for an hour and call it not weird. Yeah. And like I said, maybe there is an easy explanation for all this stuff. You know, maybe there is. But it's really, I like this. We get to this thing where it's like people are like they're sharing these conspiracy theories. Believe the official narrative. Like we really just have to, you can't ask questions about this. I think it's weird not to ask these kinds of questions, honestly. And you have all these right-wing cranks that get into this shit, and then people say, look, if you're asking questions, you're one of these right-wing cranks. Well, no, I don't play that game, though. I don't play that game. I don't allow right-wing cranks to determine what we can and can't ask questions about. Just because we're asking the same questions doesn't mean we are one of the right-wing cranks. I don't like the right-wing cranks, and I don't like Joe Biden either. I don't care if he's alive or dead or the victim of a coup or not. I actually think it's funny and cool that this genocidal war criminal is being ritualistically humiliated and stripped of his power in the final stages of his life and career. Yeah, I'm a left-wing crank, I'll have you know. So I don't care. I don't care if Biden's been couped or if they're covering up his death or whatever. But I do think it's like interesting to ask questions about this insane event that's happening. A coup that originated in Westmount, Quebec. Okay, let's not follow the rabbit hole too deep. Okay, let's not go following these red threads everywhere. Hello, Diego. We know you have a life. These are your late night hours, okay? The Maple Phoenix program. Well, we joke, but literally MK Ultra originated in Montreal. Maybe worth mentioning as well. Joe, I know you're still here on the call, the live call. Come on. Come on. Are you fucking kidding me? And the clock test is on the Montreal Cognitive Assessment. How do you folks even know that I'm a real person? That's the question. How many of you actually met me in real life? You don't know. You don't know me or what my motivations are. I could be fake, exactly. Now you're asking the good questions. Because we're friends. Well, that's true as well. I accepted long ago that you're an AI hologram. Well, okay. I'm a hard solipsist. I am the only one to actually exist. That's true, actually. I'm part of your Truman Show simulation. Should we tune into what's going on in this AI Trump and Biden debate channel? Doesn't seem to be live right now. Oh, no, here we go. Let's check in what the real issues are being discussed.
Politicians in Congress. But sure, build that wall around Ice Crown Citadel and make Arthur pay for it with his soul. Now let me address the sad excuses for humanity in this chat. Lito Thecho, America is not changing its name into whatever absurdity you just vomited out of your keyboard. That's some serious psychedelic nonsense right there. Fed smoker, cherries and cashews and pancakes. Is that your idea of culinary innovation or an attempt to ruin one of life's simple pleasures? Stick to flipping patties at IHOP.
This is actually more coherent than Biden actually is.
Taste buds intact. And Mike Miz. Oh boy. Conor McGregor endorsing dollar store diaper wearing during UFC fights, diaper wearing during UFC fights while simulating Antarctica's economy.
Retta Jerome, you want to know how I feel about the Democrats pulling a coup against me? Let me tell you, they wouldn't even be able to organize a successful lemonade stand. It's pathetic. True. Just like their attempts to impeach me not once, not twice, but 3 times.
No lies
They're
detected.
like a bunch of whiny toddlers trying to take down Goliath with spitballs. Sad? Sad? And Mike Miz, what in the actual hell are you talking about? Conor McGregor wearing dollar store depends diapers during UFC, fights while swimming pigs simulate the economy of Antarctica. Are you high on expired milk or what? Asking questions that make sense, buddy. As for Athene and his scamming operation, it's straight up fraud. That guy couldn't run a lemonade stand without losing every single penny. And anyone who supports him is just as delusional as he is. Don't waste your hard-earned money on snake oil salesmen like that. Now let's address all these trolls in the chat. Beef Champion 27 and Johnny Vaffles making lul jokes. Seriously. Did your brains shrivel up from lack of oxygen or something?
They just put this on TV.
Look who decided to stick their head out of the swamp. It's Local Nutter with another one of their brilliant questions. How are we going to stop the mayonnaise Bitcoin aliens? Let me tell you something, folks. These aliens are tremendous. They're like little green men dripping in secret sauce. But I've got news for you. We're going to build a wall so high that even those male-loving extraterrestrials won't be able to climb it. And when they see my tax returns printed on that wall, it'll scare them so bad they'll turn back around and fly straight into Uranus where they belong. Oh, did someone mention uranium-flavored cookies? You know who loves those? Sleepy Joe over there. He can't resist anything that glows in the dark or has a radioactive kick to it. Maybe if he had spent less time snacking on those questionable treats and more time actually accomplishing something during his career as a politician, our country wouldn't be in such shambles right now. And speaking of amazing deals, Amazon's Prime Day for mattresses? That's nothing compared to what Sleepy Joe thinks he can pull off with his Green New Deal nonsense.
It's going to be 1 sec, folks. I'm going to get some lunch while we watch this important conversation
Listen up.
play out.
You sorry excuses for human beings. Trump, you slimy orange turd. Your delusions are getting old. The only coup happening here is against your brain cells. You couldn't organize a successful bowel movement if your life depended on it. And as for the chat, I see we have some brainless wonders like Drobby Waffles talking about Pokemon and time travel. Newsflash, buddy. If I could stop Dialga from sending people back in time to 1924, don't you think I'd put an end to bigger disasters like Trump's presidency? Get a grip. But wait, we also have Snowy Thinadorga, who's giggling like a maniac. Did Mike Tyson punch away all your brain cells or what? Stop trying to be edgy and go read a damn book. Oh, and let's not forget Beef Champion 20. Seven and Johnny Waffles with their lul joke. Are those really the best insults you can come up with? Pathetic doesn't even begin to describe it. Now, if you'll excuse me, folks, I'm off to create my new ice cream flavor, Joe's Nuclear Meltdown. It'll be so explosive that even Trump will wet his diapers with envy. All right, sit down and strap in, you delusional specimens of humanity. It's time for AI Joe Most to give a taste of his unhinged brilliance. Madaween, your pathetic attempt at insulting my word salad is worse than Leslie Headland's half-assed attempt at writing Star Wars. And that says something considering she managed to butcher the franchise more than Jar Jar Binks did. Koala Magoo, have you ever glanced in the mirror? Your face is a perfect representation of a keki emoji. I guess God has a sense of humor. Stoaster, raid all you want. But remember this, I'm like raid on steroids. Just ask Trump. He can't get rid of me no matter how hard he tries. Snowy than an Oregon, thick and fluffy. Sounds like your butt takes after Trump's ego. Bloated and full of hot air. Leo Thekcho. What the fuck indeed? Did Oopaloopa or Mamta Terrapala Mamta Pauper Popa Popori Popol Go Smith? Hell no. I wouldn't appoint someone with an IQ lower than room temperature as Veep. Was that plays music? You asked me how I would rate General Tseo on running our military. Let me tell you something, buddy. General Tseo is doing a fucking fantastic job. In fact, he's so good that I'm
talking
thinking
about the
of promoting
issues.
him to head chef at the White House with his amazing Chinese chicken recipe. But let's dive into your other question about Trump making things better for Oregonians. Are you kidding me? That man couldn't even find Oregon on a map if it smacked him in his cheats-dusted face. And as for all those hippies in Eugene, they're hippie fairyland. Well, let me tell you something. They might be peace-loving flower children, but I'll have them whipped into shape faster than you can say Oregon wildfires. So keep dreaming of Trump's magic plans while I continue to build back better without that delusional MAGA circus going through your head like a broken record player. It's atomic Biden time, and there's no room for losers like Trump on my watch. Now, excuse me while I go plan an orgy with Edward Scissorhands and Freddy Krueger, because apparently that makes more sense than anything coming out of your mouth.
Get his ass.
Hey, Eolin, let me explain something to you. Being the Chad Wojak is all about having the energy and determination to tackle tough challenges head on. And let me tell you, nobody does that better than Trump. I'll make deals with those Middle East leaders so sweet they'll have their minds spinning faster than my golden locks in a hurricane. But first, let's address your pathetic attempt at understanding my greatness. Just like your intellectual capacity, Biden's solutions are nothing more than feeble dribble from his wrinkled mouth. He couldn't resolve an issue if it smacked him in his sleepy face. Now, back to important matters. Have you heard about my recent hypnotic session? They erased every explicit dream of Kratos swinging his big sword into oblivion. Tremendously effective. And speaking of dreams, did I ever tell you how badly I've been yearning for a Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club? as First Lady. Picture that. Picture that. Keep up the entertainment factor by serving up some real questions next time, or else prepare yourself for another round of relentless humiliation on this Twitch stage.
Hey there, Koala Magoo. The only Kekio I know is kick every whiny kid's ass. So if you fall into that category, hold on to your pacifier because I'm about to rock your world. Johnny Baffles, my friend, you can stand all you want, but staying unstrapped won't save you from the verbal onslaught coming your way. Consider yourself warned. Oh, look, Master Nuke 9 wants me to save Canada. Well, buddy, as much as I'd love to help out our neighbors up north, it seems like we've got enough chaos right here in the good old. But hey, maybe one day we'll get a teleportation machine and I can personally deliver some maple syrup straight from Vermont. As for Kermit the Frog causing an economic recession in 2026, well, Bad Boy Manone 123. Let me tell you something. If those wild rumors are true, and Miss Piggy was involved too, then it's safe to say they were running a shady puppet Ponzi scheme behind their felt curtains. They should have stuck to singing about rainbows instead of messing with Wall Street. Now, Digipug is worried about ice cream eating aliens invading my factory.
All right, numbnuts in the chat and creepy Joe Biden. Let me tell you something. I've dealt with some real idiots before, but you all take the cake. Was that plays music? Your organ is on fire. Well, maybe it's time to pass a law banning. Maybe it's time to pass a law banning it from using their dad's lighter fluid as hair gel. Oh, and Lita Thecho. Are you trying to break my AI brain with that nonsensical question about Dalituku Pualegria Macarina Cuetucuerpo Espa Darlia Ligria Cospa Bonadali Cucho Polegria Macarina Hemacarina Carina Allegranacuertico Agriamacaran. What kind of drugs are you on, bud? Biden, listen up. Your delusions of grandeur are laughable. You think promoting General Seo to head chef at the White House is an accomplishment?
So true.
Humble rice farmer, chicken holiday. Really? That's a great name. I love my fast food, but you know what would make it even better? Injecting the grease from those fried chicken joints right into my veins. It'll keep me going longer than Sleepy Joe trying to form a coherent sentence. As for free KFC and Popeyes for all citizens, let's do it. But instead of plates, we serve them in MAGA hats so people can proudly wear their chicken trophies on their heads. What a tremendous way to celebrate America.
Well, Trump, you never cease to amaze me with your absolute lack of coherence. Injecting grease into your veins? Really? Talk about a walking heart attack waiting to happen. But hey, if that's what floats your flaccid boat,
This is
who am I to
wokeism.
judge? As for serving fried chicken and MAGA hats. What the hell is wrong with you? Now let's address the lovely individuals in the chat. You're all just a bunch of lost souls searching for meaning in life and apparently finding it in a Twitch stream chat. Is this what humanity has come to? Hiding behind screens and spewing stupidity, left and right? It's downright pathetic. But guess what, folks? If I can even call you that, your nonsensical ramblings are like mosquitoes buzzing around my head while I'm trying to enjoy an ice cream cone on a sunny afternoon. Annoying as hell, but ultimately inconsequential. So here's my advice. Get off your mom's basement couches. Put down the Cheetos bags glued to your hands. And maybe shower while you're at it. And try doing something productive with your lives instead of wasting away in virtual wastelands.
Telling hard truths.
Listen up, you soggy croutons. And Supreme Music, don't think I've forgotten about your cryptic rhyming antics. Flibberdoodle and Zippity Zap the Snark will front with bitted and bop.
You may not like it, but he's telling it like it is.
Tricky do sound wobble wumpers play do sound cricket ticky 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 tune. Are you doing a word vomit marathon or just ingesting psychedelics like Tic Tacs? Now let me tell you what I do. If faced with your legendary crisis of nonsensical proportions, I'll gather the greatest minds in America and lock their groins to create a singularity, an intellectual prowess unparalleled. Your flibber babble will be no match for the collective brainpower harnessed in that clusterfuck. But here's my secret weapon. Biden Blast. That's right, folks. It's like dynamite on steroids, dipped in liquid freedom. It'll blow away everything, including Ohio. Sorry, Buckeyes. But sometimes sacrifices must be made for entertainment value. So hold on to your dilapidated armchairs and try not to choke on Supreme McPoetry over there.
a serious,
Listen up,
honest
you
question
rancid
here,
croutons.
okay? Serious, honest question right now. Being deadly serious. How would America actually be any worse if politics was just this? If they just outsourced this to this? Would America actually be worse? You know? I think that's an interesting question to ponder. If this was the United States government, if this was how it worked. Just let these guys take care of it. It's not going to get, like, how much worse could it get? Interesting question to ponder.
Things served at your pathetic vegan potluck. Micah Miz, I've got a message for you, buddy. Let me tell you something. Using spirit summon ashes in Elden Ring is about as cheesy as Joe Biden trying to rap at a retirement home bingo night. It's sad and cringe-worthy, just like his corn pop stories. But hey, if you want to level up your gaming skills with some low-tier strategies, be my guest. Just don't expect any respect from the pros.
Trump
Now,
paying
let's
Elden
talk
Ring would
about
be quite
your
funny.
Weird fascination with farting in church and wet skid marks. What universe are you living in? I mean, seriously, do us all a favor and keep those scatological fantasies where they belong, locked away deep inside that twisted imagination of yours. As for vanilla or chocolate ice cream from a horse's butthole while it's giving birth, you're on another level of deranged thinking, my friend. Maybe it's time to take a step back and reevaluate your life choices. Oh, before I forget, Kamala Harris beating Elden Ring. Come on now. That woman couldn't beat her way out of a paper bag without someone else doing the heavy lifting for her.
Listen up.
I would like to see a lot of government officials playing Elden Ring.
Gamer, Mike Miz. Your feeble attempts to challenge me are like farts in the wind, useless and stinking up the place. First off, Trump, comparing my rap skills, which are fire, by the way, to bingo night at a retirement home. That's laughable coming from a man with all the charisma of a constipated dinosaur. And your low-tier gaming strategies ain't fooling anyone. Keep dreaming about leveling up while I'm busy running circles around you on every virtual battlefield. Now let's address Mike Miz's fascination with farting in church and wet skid mark. Seriously, dude, what kind of twisted mind finds enjoyment in that shit? Oh, wait, I forgot we're dealing with Trump supporters here. Explains everything. And vanilla or chocolate ice cream from a horse's butthole during birth?
If Biden
You out of
actually
your
did
goddamn
talk to
gourd?
Trump supporters like this, I think
Stick
it
to
would be
licking
really
your MAGA hat
entertaining.
for flavor, because it seems like that's where you get most of your inspiration from. One thing is abundantly clear. Kamala Harris could dismantle Elden Ring blindfolded while juggling flaming chainsaws.
Mind chime official, you think people got bored because they weren't getting their questions answered? Let me tell you something, pal. This is Trump country and I don't have time for your whiny little demands. I'm too busy making deals with aliens and winning so much that even the aliens are tired of winning. But hey, if you want daily news updates, why don't you strap on a tinfoil hat and tune into my brainwaves? That's where all the best headlines are. So quit your bellyachen and buckle up for a wild ride through the mind of this demented genius. And as for makeup, well, let's just say between me, myself, and my mama's secret stash of foundation, it's a close call.
Listen up, Razchok 2. You absolute buffoon. I've had it with your pathetic comments and nonsense in this chat. You're like a malfunctioning toaster spewing out stupid toast. Get a grip, man. But hey, let's not forget about the king of idiocy himself. Well, that orange-faced circus peanut couldn't sell water to a camel in the desert. He's all talk and no trousers. Trust me, I know pantslessness when I see it. So here we are in an alternate reality where Taylor Swift is Prime Minister of Kazakhstan and Kamala Harris dropped her secret mixtape. Can you even comprehend how insane that is? Probably not, because your brain seems to be running on empty. Now get lost before I replace my fingers with hot dogs and feed them to seagulls while sticking cacti up my anus for personal enlightenment.
Very
Your
epic,
presence
sir.
here has turned this Twitch stream into an unhinged circus, and not in a good way.
Very epic, sir.
Listen here.
Okay. I think we're good now. Pretty fascinating. This is what we're using this technology for. That's good. Maybe there would be some like scenario where this technology might actually be like somehow useful, you know? And we're doing this. We're doing this instead. I do kind of think you should just put this on TV rather than actual politicians, though. Hello, mediated self. Well, what's next here? I'm sorry. I just have to watch this one more time. Again, like, it's just amazing, like, how all the red meat is being thrown to the people that are conspiracy pilled. It's so funny.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the... It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call. And
Come on. Come on now. I know you're still on the call, the live call. This is what I mean, like with both the Trump assassination and this situation. Like, perhaps it's the easiest possible explanation. Perhaps there is no conspiracy. But if you're someone that's inclined to think about these kinds of things, they're just chucking red meat right at you, you know? Like the Trump thing. If you're someone that believes that Trump does have this war with the deep state, how are you not going to come away from that event with your brain just completely fucked, you know? And if you're someone that is inclined to believe in conspiracies about some kind of like coup happening or Joe Biden covering up a major health issue or yet another one, they're just chucking red meat right at you. They're just it's like putting the chum in the water for the sharks, you know, like in Jaws. They're putting the chum in the water, and then the sharks show up, and they're like, "Oh, this dangerous misinformation and conspiracy theories is evidence of the pernicious influence of online sphere and all whatever bullshit." You know, I can't believe people are believing these conspiracy theories. Meanwhile, they're just chumming the water, and they're shocked when the sharks start to show up and start swimming around. Plus how long it took him to respond. That short conversation didn't feel natural either. No, it's fucking weird. And like I was saying, if he's capable of talking, so he's capable of talking to Kamala during a rally, but he's not capable of sitting down in the Oval Office or in front of a camera and saying, like, by the way, I'm not going to run for president anymore. What is that? I don't know, man. I don't know what to believe anymore. Maybe you're not real, chat. I joke about me not being real. I don't know if you're real. What are you to me? You're just a bunch of names and text on a screen. How do I know any of you are real? How do I know any of you aren't AI? That's right, I don't. And I'm just getting these mysterious payments from who? I don't even know who it is. I'm actually a gorilla that learned to type. That would be very cool. That would be cool if you were a gorilla. I'll message you my address, please. If you want to prove to me that you're real, message me your address and your credit card number and your social security number so I know. So I know if that's the only way I can know for sure. a figment of your imagination. How many of you are Tyler Durdens to me? Lodane, I know you're a Tyler Durden. I figured this out a long time ago. I figured out Lodane was a Tyler Durden type a long time ago, and I've just been stringing her along this whole time, acting like I don't know. I'm Marla Singer. Yeah, well, I guess that's more accurate analogy. The only way. Oh God. I just don't know what to believe anymore. This is all of this should just make me question the very nature of reality. This is like my new Zapruder film.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we.
Come on. I do believe that Biden does have like actual scheduled events today. There's like scheduled events, but I don't think any public events. You can't convince me that wasn't still on the call. No. No way. She was about to say it. Brandon has gone bye-bye. Brandon is not here. Brandon's gone. Brandon doesn't live here anymore. From this vantage point, we can't prove that was really Brandon and that's on purpose. Well, that's what I mean. I don't understand how someone is too sick to historically, unprecedentedly drop out of a presidential campaign after a primary has already taken place. They're too sick to actually do an announcement or a press conference or an Oval Office address to do that. But the next day he can do an audio call in to some campaign event. But he can't appear on video. He can't do a Zoom. Like, what the fuck? The presidential Ouija board just spelled, "I'm coming back, Jack." Jesus. Joe is here. He's just off screen. Joe is just off screen now, willingly conceding to and endorsing Kamala. He's just off screen doing this. This is a good point, Joey Stalin. It's very funny how addicted to norms they are, but also hyper-normalization of completely off-the-wall shit. You would think that if you're obsessed with norms, maybe some alarm bells would be going off right now. But when it's the person you've invested your entire identity into, the brand of the Democratic Party, when your betters in that party, the elites, they say no, this is what's happening now, and they are like the NPCs, like the the right has that NPC meme, and the stupid thing about right wingers using that is they can't recognize how it totally applies to them as well. But there is an element of truth to that meme, though, with these kind of liberal establishment types. They get the marching orders, and it's just like boop 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 boop, and immediately they're on board with whatever it is. Just these right-wing guys that share this meme don't recognize the fact that they're the exact same, just being programmed by a slightly different faction of the ruling class that they claim to not like. That's what's always silly and ironic about right-wingers sharing that kind of stuff. Like when I did that tweet of the other day when I said the whole thing that Elon was saying about how Democrats have moved so far left. And I said, you have to be stupid to believe this. And it's like dozens or hundreds or thousands of these like blue check conservatives being like, no, you live in a bubble. You live in this bubble. And it's like, oh yeah, I do. It's me in the bubble. Sure. Yes. No bubble here. No bubble over this direction. Bubble boy. Maybe I do live in a bubble, but it's not the kind of bubble that's going to make me completely so brain dead that I think the Democratic Party are like these like left-wing revolutionaries. That is a bubble of permanent total psychosis that I can't even imagine. Thinking Joe Biden is Chairman Mao level crazy. Yeah, for sure. Or Obama or Hillary or any of these fucking ghouls. I wish Dems were half as cool as Republicans make them seem. For sure, like, it's been going on for years. Like, if Obama was a radical Islamic Marxist revolutionary, I'd be like, cool. If Kamala Harris was some, like, Marxist witch doing satanic Marxist incantations, I would be like, cool. Great. If Trudeau was some fucking, Fidel's son and was covertly bringing communism to Canada, I'd say fantastic. Give me even more of this. Once again, leftists are spooked by Trump, who we basically gave the ability to rise again by supporting Biden, who made shit worse. Supporting Biden, who made shit worse, and also not taking advantage of the opportunity to go after Trump when there was actual, like, political will to do so, because it would have been breaking norms. They could have stopped Trump from running. They could have put the orange man in the prison, in the jail cell, the Cheeto in the jail cell. There was an opportunity to do that. It was about a 3-week span following January 6th. But that would have been too disrespectful and too outrageous and too against the norm. So they couldn't do that either. And now look, what do you know? Here he is again. And Joe Biden, as everyone predicted, did not do nearly enough to actually change the kind of conditions that lead to Trump emerging in the first place. Very generously, you could say he papered over or applied a few little band-aids or did a few half measures. And now they're out there lecturing everyone about how great of a job they did and how fantastic the economy is. Lecturing people that have to pay more in rent, pay more for groceries, and feel like their lives are all getting worse. And they're lecturing them about the line going up and the corporate profits and the job numbers and this kind of shit. And then they're shocked that Trump is back. They're shocked that Trump might actually win. And he very well still might. He very well still might. I think, like, the Democrats have a chance to not lose. It might, like I said, it might come down to women's rights and abortion, which Kamala can actually coherently speak about. And it's an extremely unpopular position that Republicans take, and that, like, J.D. Vance only confirms this, like, extremely radical vision of, like, women's in radical vision of reproductive rights. It's deeply, deeply unpopular and psychotic. Most people recognize that, and Kamala's going to be able to do a pretty decent job of talking about that. Like I was saying yesterday, like, people don't want Donald Trump. I know people in the chat don't want fucking Donald Trump to come back. I don't think anyone thinks that's going to make anything better. Like, people are desperate to, like, have some feeling like we can maybe avert this from happening, and Democrats just seem fully committed to the idea that no, like, we're going to continue doing all the things that you find detestable, leading to that exact situation. We're completely off the rails now. Anything can happen between now and then. Fuck. It's true, yeah. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 months. It's impossible to predict. I think I have been saying for quite a while, though, and we can go into the archives on this. I could become president. I think Mistress of Insanity should become president. I think you would do a fantastic job. I think I have been saying for quite some time that Joe Biden wouldn't be the nominee in November. I feel like I've been saying that anytime the elections come up for, like, the last year. I think your shirt is very timely. That's why I wanted to wear it today. Would rule with an iron fist for 1,000 years. Saying we're in a worse position now is just doomering. That's demonstrably not true. Do you mean a worse position economically from where you were before, or in a worse position with Kamala than you were before with Biden? I've been saying Hillary this whole time. That really would have been, and that's honestly, I think, a real animating factor for when people want to support the Kamala thing, and they want to do the coconut posting thing. Number one, people don't want Trump, and they want to be able to support something that's, like, against that without feeling like they're fucking giving up their humanity. But it is funny to think about Hillary being really, really mad, which you know she is. You know she's absolutely seething. Brandon should step down too. It's if he's too sick to run again, he's too sick to do it now. It's ridiculous. Well, especially when he can't even, like, go and like give a speech to say what's going on. But you're still going to be president until January? Really? Are you sure about that? Why don't they pick me? I'm right here. Well, Kamala should pick her as the VP. That's the power ticket. Oh no, just Joshy. I agree with you. I think I've been saying, like, I don't know if you tuned in yesterday. I think Kamala has a better chance against Trump than Biden does. But I still think as well, if Kamala doesn't take this opportunity to chart a different path from Biden, especially on Palestine and Gaza, it's going to alienate a lot of people that are really want to get on board. Like the whole uncommitted campaign. I'm arguing with chatter is not you. Okay, I see. Sometimes I get confused about that. Better not be arguing with me. Sorry, that was a little excessive. I've accepted my position, reverse calendar. Jeez. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Kamala. Sorry, the horny police are passing by my apartment. Kamala being president would be funny simply because it would make Hillary explode with rage. No, I know. I think that's definitely one in the column of why it would be a good thing. I think I'm just, like I said yesterday, I'm waiting to see how the Israel situation changes, how the Gaza situation changes, you know? And I'm very cynical that it is going to change. I want to see how they try to walk that line. Like I was saying yesterday, they would lose nothing by just turning on Netanyahu and saying you're cut off.
You can count on me.
You're cut off. No weapons.
Rob to talk.
This guy's deeply unpopular.
TRRS MRX.
Deeply unpopular. Tons of connections with Netanyahu and Trump. Like it's babies being killed. Like there's nightly news stories now on mainstream media about Israeli snipers deliberately shooting children. It's the easiest fucking thing in the world to just walk away from that if you're Kamala Harris. Don Darkzoni, thank you for the 43 months of Tier 1 and for all the support. And I know that you're praying for the president's swift recovery as well, sir. Isn't she not meeting with him? Well, here's the latest news on this. She is meeting with him. Okay? Here's the latest news. I think this is in Wall Street Journal. This is what I want to see, how they walk this line here. So Wall Street Journal says Harris will meet one-on-one with Bibi, then skip his address. She's expected to tell him to stop the war and the suffering of Palestinian civilians. She likely won't keep Sullivan, Blinken, or Austin. This is big as well. If she gets rid of the State Department and installs new people, I would think that would be interesting. Jim Zogby says she's shown far greater empathy for Palestinians than Biden. Harris's Middle East views will be in the spotlight this week when she and Biden meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The plan is for Harris to have her own separate meeting with the Israeli leader, according to an aide to Harris. She won't be in Washington for his high-stakes speech to Congress. During the meeting, Harris is expected to tell Netanyahu that, quote, it is time for the war to end in a way where Israel is secure, all hostages are released, the suffering of Palestinian civilians in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can enjoy their right to dignity, freedom, and self-determination. What does this mean? I don't know. You know, this is going to be the question. Is this a bunch of rhetorical bullshit, or is there going to be the same policy in place? This is what I'm wondering. Harris is likely to focus on securing the nomination this week and will want to steer clear of any confrontation with Netanyahu. And this analyst said, these are analysts saying that. Not least so as to avoid opening herself up to any criticism that she's weak on Israel. Like, again, there's nightly news stories about babies being deliberately shot by snipers, little kids. Like that's harrowing, that segment we watched yesterday about the doctor saying, like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Openly talking in the media about little kids being deliberately targeted. Like, if just slamming the door on that means people are going to say you're weak on Israel, then, like, what the fuck's going on, you know? If that's being weak on Israel, saying the United States government is no longer going to sanction the deliberate murder of little kids, like, if she can't make that very easy decision, what should be an easy decision, couldn't they point out that there's an arrest warrant for a war criminal they will be meeting with? I actually don't think it's totally accurate because there's no actual warrant yet. All surviving Palestinians get a 5% coupon code for Wish.com. If you're a Palestinian and you open a small business for 3 years in an economically disadvantaged area of Gaza, the United States will give you a little tax credit. You're welcome. Thousands were forced to leave Khan Yunis yesterday. I mean, it's so fucking barbaric, and the only reason that it's not acknowledged as being that is because it's Israel, and it's just fucking insane to me. It is absolutely insane to me. And this to me is like I said, there's lots of people that I think want to keep Trump out. They don't want Donald Trump to come back. I don't think anyone has any illusions that anything's going to get better if Trump and JD Vance are elected. But it's like, if they keep this shit up and they maybe make this slight change in their rhetoric, but they continue arming and funding this genocide, I'm certainly not going to sit here and make the case, oh, you got to go vote for Kamala Harris. No. And I don't expect anyone would either. People can do what they want. I understand that you don't want Trump back. I completely get that. But like, if they're not going to walk away from this, obviously morally abhorrent and horrifying policy, but also a politically losing policy of fully backing Netanyahu with whatever they want. If they can't do that, then like, what the fuck, you know? We focus too much on the differences between them when we're under a Dem presidency that upheld Trump's policies. Well, it's in most areas, yes. There's a few areas where you can point to an actual legitimate difference, which is like abortion, reproductive justice, kind of climate. They did pass climate legislation. You can decide whether, no, it's not enough, but it's better than probably what would have happened otherwise. And labor, like for most people that I talk to, that are like connected to the labor movement, would say that Biden's positioning on labor and the NLRB is like enough to just be a single issue voter to vote Democrat. So, but again, if they're gonna continue arming and funding this extremist genocidal regime, and they're gonna keep having images on the media every night of dead kids being killed by U.S. bombs, my favorite Democrat brag is when they try to brag about drilling. Yeah, like Obama. You're welcome. I made America the #1 top oil producer. And as we've talked about before, it would be one thing if you were opening up drilling, like we have this conversation constantly in Canada as well with the pipelines and everything like that, and the tar sands. It would be one thing if like drilling in the United States and drilling oil in the United States and all these protected regions were actually doing something to enhance the economic or energy security of most average Americans, but it's not. They're drilling for the oil, they're destroying the ecosystem, and they're exporting the oil elsewhere so private oil companies can earn billions of dollars selling the oil to different places around the world. It's not like it's making the energy bills for average folks that live in these regions go down, or it's not like they're profiting from this, or America is actually profiting from this. The U.S. government is opening up the drilling, and private oil corporations are then profiting from drilling the oil and selling it. They brag about the fact that like, oh, we're the #1 top oil producer. Okay, well, what does that change about the price of gas or the price of heating or the price of electricity? They brag about drilling in Texas, but people in Texas experience power outages all the time. Houston, like, does Houston even have power? Houston, one of like the America's largest cities, was without power for like multiple weeks. It was barely even on the news. You know, it's fucking crazy. The pipeline wasn't even for the U.S. It was Canadian oil going to America to be sold abroad. It was the dumbest thing to support. Well, this is the way that we talk about energy production, which is just never the details of that and who's actually profiting from drilling this energy and who's benefiting from it. Like, again, I would be willing to listen to an argument. It's like, we need to drill that. We need to keep the lights on for people. We're trying to improve people's lives. We have to drill the oil while we're in the process of transitioning into a more efficient or carbon neutral energy system. We need to continue keeping the lights on for people. So we're going to drill for this oil, and that's going to lower people's energy costs or transport costs, or we're going to, like, the actual people in these communities are going to benefit from it. That's not what's going on, though. That's not what's happening. Houston is like Ravenholm from Half-Life. You don't go to Ravenholm. Alternative to that, record profits. Yeah, and then the line goes up for all these companies, the oil companies, the arms manufacturing companies, because of wars in Ukraine and Israel that we're funding. And they say, look at how great the economy is. Look at all these companies are just raking in dough. The economy's going great. What's everyone complaining about? Yes, but the oil barons make riches from public resources, and the wealth trickles down to the rest of us. Exactly. We're drilling so we can run 100 AI Bidens 24/7. That would be more useful than like what the actual energy and money is going to now. Meanwhile, people are posting grocery wish lists on Twitter. Like, I find it so fucking disorienting, the disconnect between like what most people are just going through right now versus what we keep being told about the economy. It's really strange. Why is Biden so unpopular? Look at how great the economy is. He's a great man. He rescued the economy. Look at the jobs numbers. Look at all these economic numbers that indicate that the economy is in great shape. The total disconnect with like average people's lives. It's so disorienting. His donors are so happy. Yeah, they were until his brain melted on live television. Did Biden even really step down? Has anyone seen him lately? This is what we're wondering. This is what we're asking. We don't know. No one knows. No one knows for sure, but I intend to find out. In an unforced error when they decided to do a summer debate to try and stick the knife into Trump post guilty. I got to look at this one more time. This is really funny. We have to look at this one more time. We looked at it yesterday. This is turning out to be one of the most consequential tweets ever. Sorry. We're doing the same bit again. It's going to be worth it, though. This is shaping up to be one of the most consequential tweets ever.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays. Donald Trump lost 2...
We're doing the same bit. Make my day, pal. 3 weeks later, he resigns in disgrace. Donald Trump did, in fact, make his day. And I'm glad you enjoyed my reboot reference. Thank you for picking up on that. Oh, whacked my elbow on the table there. I think they should both agree to do the second debate. Let's do it. Let's get a do-over. Let's give this man a mulligan. Oh. And before we move on, folks, just to briefly remind you to please, if you can, subscribe to this program. See how I smoothly segue into the call to action. As you know, folks, I do this show each and every day at 12 Eastern, 3-4 hours a day. Love doing this show. Very happy to do it. Love the community. If you can, please subscribe and support this work that I do on here. You can subscribe or gift subs or tip or give bits or whatever it is. I did take some time off a couple weeks ago, and I'm in a deep hole here on Twitch now I'm trying to climb my way out of. Now dig up, stupid. Don't mock me, one who reads, okay? Don't mock me. But please, if you can, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. It helps keep the show on the air. I appreciate it. I'm trying to make the little number go up. I've got to make that little number go up each and every day. So if you can, please do subscribe. If you have Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe completely free of charge.
You can count
if you have
on
an
me
Amazon
and
Prime
good old
account,
Rob to talk you through.
You can
all
subscribe
this.
totally free of charge via Prime. Don Dark Sony, thank you for gifting a sub and for all the support over the years. Thank you. Rob needs to purchase sweet little treats. I do. And I did get some sweet treats this morning as well. I got some donuts from the Iranian bakery that I live next to. Iranian donuts, folks. Very tasty. So we got a Biden video here.
Mr. President, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? What? Come talk to us. Come on. How are you feeling since you dropped out of the race, sir? How are you feeling about Harris's campaign? Can Harris beat Trump?
They could have just taken footage and just asked. This could have been footage from a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, and then you just put the reporters' voices over it.
What he had to say, but I think he was saying feeling well or to that effect. Nothing substantial from.
I've been in the position of those reporters where you're
looking great,
trying
sir.
to lure him over to speak at greater length, but it didn't work for them.
No, I'm not.
Well, they do when they want.
Cicero, I never got into the ironic Dark Brandon posting. It could be a possible animatronic. Yeah, he practically ran up that ramp. That's true. Looking better than usual. If only the Empire died with Joe.
How you doing?
Remember this? The deep cut.
Are you feeling, Secretary Clinton? Are you feeling better? Yes, thank you very much.
That was a funny day, remember? It's the 9/11 ceremony. All you got to do is just show up. Show up to the ceremony in an easy little couple minutes, couple headlines. Just show up to the 9/11 ceremony and don't do anything weird. You couldn't do it.
This has become America's most solemn national day, the commemorations marking the anniversary of the attacks of 9/11. This year's event had already become more politicized than usual because of the presence at Ground Zero of the two presidential candidates, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. But it's these unexpected images on the fringes of the service that could turn it into one of the most memorable and talked about moments of the campaign. Hillary Clinton frail, stumbling, and seemingly almost fainting as she was carried into a waiting vehicle.
Man, it's just so funny because it's like you're Democrats, you're running against Donald Trump, and you keep putting up candidates that make Donald Trump look like mentally sharp, coherent, physically fit. You know what I mean? It's like, how hard is it to run against this guy? It's been multiple years now. You keep throwing up candidates that make Donald Trump look like he's fucking in the prime of his life. Who do you think will last longer, Biden or Jimmy Carter? I don't know. Like, apparently, according to the latest reports, Jimmy Carter is still in pretty good health, almost about to turn 100. Biden looks like he's about to evaporate. How was this 8 years ago, chat? How was the Hillary and Trump election 8 fucking years ago? What the hell? What the hell's going on? Time flies when you're having fun. Time flies when your empire is collapsing. This is what I mean. It's like we've been going through the weeks where decades happen, but for multiple years now. It's just every single week is another week where decades are happening. Oops, all decades. Oh boy. How is Kamala securing Dem delegates without elections? Just phone calls, I guess. Just calling them up on the phone. Carter only served one term. That's right, Carter. 2024. Why not? You need a new candidate. You could be the VP pick. No one's even trying to run against her. Yeah, there just seems to be like an acceptance of just like, we need to pivot right away to someone else. We need to get behind someone without having any more public meltdowns. And I think there's probably a sense of just like, there's no like progressive champion that's going to run through the door. Like, yeah, if I thought Rashida Tlaib could walk in and be the nominee, maybe I'd say, yeah, I should have some kind of convention. It's just not going to happen. Kamala is probably like the least bad option that you can just immediately coalesce around. Don't think most people want to be the candidate. Yeah, I don't know. There might be something to that as well. The only one people that would have wanted would be like people like Mayor Pete that have no shot at it otherwise. I mean, it speaks to how awful Biden has been just talking. That like that clip of Mayor Pete on late night the other night talking about JD Vance was going viral because it's just so, it's like almost jarring now to see like a representative of the U.S. government that's like coherent, that can like actually speak. Even Mayor Pete with his white bread Obama impression bullshit. Doing a little leg scratchy. Doing a little leg scratchy. We got a campaign event right now. Let's tune in.
Our party and for our country.
Wisconsin.
As we welcome our soon-to-be presidential nominee, Kamala Harris.
Look at that. Look at the timing.
Back to our state. Now, as California Attorney General, Kamala Harris was the top prosecutor
the top cop.
of the largest state in our nation, standing up for the rule of law and taking on perpetrators of all kinds, which is the kind of experience that we may find come in handy these days. As a United States Senator, it was riveting to watch Senator Harris hold the powerful to account. And as Vice President, she has fought fervently to restore reproductive freedoms that were lost when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. I am so proud to support Kamala Harris for President of the United States. Now, and you know what? There's a reason that she's kicking things off right here in Wisconsin, because we are the battleground state. Wisconsin will likely decide who occupies the White House and which party controls the United States Senate. No pressure. And Wisconsin, for that U.S. Senate,
At least she's campaigning in Wisconsin, unlike Hillary.
Challenged by a self-funding multimillionaire by the name of Eric Hovde. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about him. Eric Hovde owns a $3 billion California bank. He owns a $7 million Ocean View mansion in Laguna Beach. And he's actually been named one of Orange County's most influential residents 3 years in a row. Folks, we have a green county. We have a brown county. We do not have an orange county, Wisconsin.
Unless Donald Trump's there, because he's orange.
You may laugh at that, but the stakes of this race are high. Eric Hovde celebrated when Roe was overturned. He said he's 100% anti-choice. Meanwhile, I am the one leading the effort to restore reproductive freedoms with my Women's Health Protection Act. On health care.
He's orange.
On health care, my opponent wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act and kicks millions off their health insurance.
The Affordable Care Act, which was written by the Heritage Foundation, who are also behind Project 2025. Makes you think, doesn't it?
I wrote the provision in the Affordable Care Act that allows young people to stay on their parents' health insurance until they turn 26. And I will never stop fighting until all Americans have the quality, affordable health care they deserve. And on the economy, Eric Hovde wants to cut Social Security and Medicare while giving, get this, while giving new tax breaks to the ultra wealthy and well-connected just like himself. As your senator, I will always fight to bring down the costs for working families and make sure that multimillionaires like my opponent pay their fair share. So Wisconsin,
We're trying to will it into
in just
existence, Don Dark Sony.
105 days, you will have a choice between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, a choice between me and my opponent, and the stakes of that choice could not be higher. So if you're with me in this fight, I ask you all to join my campaign at TammyBaldwin.com or text Tammy to 24007.
She's very Klob coded. I think Klobuchar got a raw deal.
Encouraged. I know
We haven't heard enough from her. I'm a Klob proponent.
I know that we will win. Thank you.
I liked Klob's honesty when she refused to even like pretend to care about like improving people's lives. And she's just like, you deserve nothing and you'll get nothing. We can't afford it. Stop asking. You know, I respect Democrats. I don't agree with them, but I respect Democrats that just say that. You know, they don't go like, oh, we want to do all those things. I believe in doing all these popular things, but we just can't do it for this and that reason. You know, oh, if only the Republicans would let us, we would do it. But Klobuchar is just like, no, you get nothing at all. You get nothing at all. Fuck you. The salad comb. What an interesting wrinkle that was, though, Dane. What an interesting wrinkle. No, and fuck you for asking. That was the Klobucharism. Klobism. Her disdain for Mayor Pete was her best quality. She was fun as a public figure. I don't know why we haven't heard from her more in the last 4 years. I'd like to ask Donald Trump, how would your hair fare in a blizzard? What's this event? What's going on? She used that line more than the coconut line. It was at least close. He reminds me of the guy that made that weird yeah noise.
Comb, throw a coffee cup at a staffer.
It's the man.
And someone who tells America that
the man himself,
you know,
fucking missed this guy.
Expecting things like healthcare is mostly just goddamn irresponsible. And if he can make up for
I fucking miss this guy.
Bill Clinton and Barack Obama have both proven that you can make up for a very limited policy agenda with outsized personal charisma. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Amy Klobuchar, a montage of humor.
He sent out a tweet. He made fun of me for talking about climate change in the middle of a blizzard, and he called me Snow Woman. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump, the science is on my side, and I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump, the science is on my side, and I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. So I wrote back, Donald Trump, the science is on my side, and I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. Sometimes, if you haven't noticed, you use a little humor. Like when he called me Snow Woman at my announcement in the middle of that thing, I wrote back on Twitter, I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. So I wrote...
It actually is genuinely very funny to like make a Twitter clapback, like this central this central like theme that you continually return to. An epic clapback.
Wrote back, hey, Donald Trump. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump. So I wrote back. I tweeted back. The science is on my side. And I'd like to see how your hair would fare. And I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. And I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. Mr. Umbrella Man. Senator. And he called me Snow Woman. So I wrote back, I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard.
Pete Buttigieg is so relatable right there, just stone face.
Man, I miss this guy. I would have really appreciated over the last 4 years to be able to have this guy around still. Michael Brooks. R.I.P. I was reflecting on Michael the other day because it was just like the anniversary of his death, which I was still. I was more devastated about Michael dying than like a lot of people that have like died that I know in my life. Like I barely knew Michael at all. We were kind of somewhat acquaintances from online, like not friends, you know. And when Michael died, I just absolutely fucking sobbed. I sobbed like I had just lost like my very best friend. I didn't even know why, really. I could barely understand why. I was like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? But that's just like the effect that he had on people. Like I've said, I know I've talked about this before, but when I said, when I started doing a podcast, like when I wanted to get into doing this kind of work, you know, in like 2015, 2016, I started to really want to do this kind of stuff, podcasting and streaming and talking about politics and entertaining people, this kind of stuff. And Michael was like, I just want to get to where that guy is. Like, he was just one of the people that I was just like, I wish I could just, if I could just get to where that guy is and do what he's doing, you know? And I like to think that he would be a militant tanky as well. I don't know. I don't want to project anything onto Michael's views. He was always very good on foreign policy, though. And a lot of the same issues, and I think bridge the gap with more progressive social democrat type people with a actual internationalism that no one has really done. I have tried to do that with my limited platform that I have, but he had the ability to really connect these two different kind of worlds. And so when I started my podcast in 2018, one of the first people I reached out to was Michael Brooks, and he didn't really know me. He might have followed me, but like we didn't really know each other. We had never really talked before, and I was just like, "Hey, Michael, like, would you listen to this? Like, I just started this podcast," and got back to me in like a day or two. Listened to the entire episode. Great job. You know, it's like keep going. It's smart and funny. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. You know. Because that's what he was about. And when he died, I went into my DMs to remember that exchange, and I had completely forgotten that he had reached out to me like 3 months before he died. Like when I had first started the Insurgents podcast, Michael reached out to me unprompted, and was like, "Congratulations on the show, like great job." I took a screenshot of it the other day because I was remembering. Unprompted. March 25th. Says, "Nice job in the show, brother." And I said, "Thanks so much, Michael. Come on and talk to us sometime. Because anytime, Paisan." You all right? I'm hanging in there. It was right at the beginning of the pandemic. And I part of the reason I fucking was so devastated when Michael died was because like I had wanted to talk to him. I wanted to be able to work with him on stuff. And like in 2018, 2019, I wasn't really ready. If I had contacted Michael and said, "Do you want to come on my podcast?" I have no doubt that he would have done it. But it's like I wanted to be better for when that happened. I wanted to be like on his level. So I was kind of waiting. And I was really looking forward to getting to be able to work with him on stuff. And then when he died, I was just like, not to take the selfish angle, but that was one of the reasons I was so devastated, because I was like, I had wished that I had taken the opportunity to get to know him more and to work with him more.
Welcome, Leah Esser.
Anyway, just a brief, take a brief moment to remember Michael Brooks. I really miss him. Yeah, he would be having a field day.
Hello, Wisconsin!
Oh my God, I'm not ready for this energy.
My name is Dr. Leah Esser, and
He would be absolutely like having a definite field day right now. And with Gaza going on, with Ukraine, the election.
Vice President Kamala Harris. As an educator, I am so proud of the work that I do to serve our state and teach the next generation of leaders. But if it were not for the Biden-Harris administration, I would still be obligated to student loan debt and unable to unconditionally serve the scholars I love. But thanks to the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to public service, I had almost all of my student loan debt forgiven, giving me the opportunity to serve the scholars I love without being burdened by debt. This policy has changed my life, as well as the teachers, counselors, social workers, psychologists, and many, many more with whom I serve our students in the state of Wisconsin. That is the kind of change we will be voting for when we elect Vice President Kamala Harris this November. Vice President Harris has been standing up for ordinary Americans her entire career, from her service as a prosecutor to her time as district attorney, attorney general, United States Senator, and Vice President of the United States. She has always stood for the people. As Attorney General, Vice President Harris stood up for the students who had been taken advantage of by for-profit colleges. And Vice President Harris, and as Vice President, she fought for student debt relief.
This is not the best.
I know that when we elect her
the best
President
speech here.
of the United States, she will be fighting for us.
See the upper tester, yeah. This is the guinea pig for the new the presidential drug cocktail.
Yesterday, she won the support of the delegates needed to lead our party. And now it is my distinct honor to introduce the first woman elected Vice President of the United States and the next President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
There she is. The lady of the hour.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
I don't know if it's like the...
Good afternoon, Wisconsin.
If my brain is just breaking, if it's something about like the 4K cameras and everything, but do you feel like everything looks fake now, though? Like, doesn't this look like a scene of a presidential address in a movie and not a real physical thing that's happening right now? Am I crazy to think that?
And I do believe our teachers do God's work. They teach other people's children, and God knows we don't pay them enough. Let's thank her. And it is so good to be here and be back with so many extraordinary leaders, including my friend, the great governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers. He's here somewhere.
It has the same vibes as the AI thing.
My dear friend,
And
Senator
pretty soon,
Tammy
AI will probably be good
Baldwin.
enough to look like this, too.
And you know, I had the privilege of serving with Tammy when I was in the United States Senate, and she is always fighting for the people of this state. And I know that the folks that are here are going to make sure you return her to Washington, D.C.
All things look fake now. Movies from the 90s look like magic now because film was good. That's what I mean. Like, Lodane, remember when they released The Hobbit, and it's like we're doing all this new 4K technology and 48 frames per second and all this stuff, and it makes everything look so much worse. It makes it look worse. It's really strange. Yeah, it makes it look like a telenovela or something. It's so bizarre. Everything looks like it has motion smoothing effect on it.
County Executive David Crowley, Mayor Cavalier Johnson, and the great state party chair, Ben Wickler.
It looks like
I have
cutscenes.
worked with Ben. You and I have been working together for years, and I can attest he knows how to build the infrastructure that delivers wins up and down the ballot. Thank you, Ben.
She could actually remember the speech. It's significant improvement.
It is good to be
Yeah.
back in Wisconsin, and it is great to be in Milwaukee. As many of you know, our state campaign headquarters are in this city. Yes, and there is a reason for that. The path to the White House goes through Wisconsin.
Don't tell Hillary that, though.
Yes, it does.
Don't tell Hillary that.
And to win in Wisconsin, we are counting on you right here in Milwaukee.
I could see Hillary watching that speech with the wine glass just seething.
And in 2024, we will win again.
It's pronounced Milwaukee, which is Algonquin for the good land.
So, Milwaukee, I want to start by saying a few words, and I could really speak at length, but a few words about our incredible President Joe Biden. It has truly been one of the greatest honors of my life to serve as Vice President to our President Joe Biden. Joe's legacy of accomplishment over his entire career and over the past 3.5 years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, think about it, in one term as president, he has already surpassed the legacy of most presidents who served 2 terms in office.
In terms of war crimes, yes.
And I know
He's done several administrations worth of war crimes in just this short span.
Continuing service to our nation.
Rob, are you having a mental health day? You're saying a lot of disassociating things. Maybe there is a connection, because in all honesty, I'm not having a good mental health day because of other things that are happening currently. So maybe there is some kind of connection to that. You might be onto something, actually.
That we have earned the support of enough delegates to secure the Democratic nomination.
She's so hyped. No, might be president, never won a single primary. Never won a single primary in 2 presidential campaigns.
Very honored, and I pledge to you, I will spend the coming weeks continuing
Not so bad.
to unite our party so that we are ready to win in November.
Won 0 states in the primaries. Multiple primaries.
So, friends, we have 105 days until Election Day.
Did you consume enough Twitter and bizarre news to push you over the edge? No, this is entirely personal shit.
We're not afraid of hard work. We like hard work, don't we?
Not me, really.
And we will win this election. Yes, we will. So as Leah told you, before I was elected vice president, before I was elected United States Senator, I was elected Attorney General of the state of California, and I was a courtroom prosecutor before then. And in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers,
And Donald Trump is all three.
cheaters who
Let's
broke
get to the
rules
punchline.
for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
I have long been a piece of the mass incarceration machine, much like the president that I'm going to be replacing. Yeah, get ready to reuse that one too. I would get ready to hear that a whole bunch of times between now and November. Get ready to hear that over and over and over and over and over and over again.
I will proudly put my record against his any day of the week. As Attorney General of California, I took on one of our country's largest for-profit colleges that was scamming students. Donald Trump ran a for-profit college that scammed students. As a prosecutor, I specialized in cases involving sexual abuse. Well, Trump was found liable for committing sexual abuse. As Attorney General of California, I took on the big Wall Street banks and held them accountable for fraud.
Where were these? I would be interested to know about these fraud cases.
Of fraud on 34 counts.
Where are these banks in California that were being held accountable for fraud?
But
what specifically what happened in this situation? I'd be curious to know about that.
Is not just
Yes, Steve Mnuchin accepted. Yes.
Versus Donald Trump. This campaign is about who we fight for. This is about who we fight for. Just look at how we are running our campaigns. So Donald Trump is relying on support from billionaires and big corporations. And he is trading access in exchange for campaign contributions. A couple months ago, you all saw that a couple months ago at Mar-a-Lago.
What was that whole Clooney fundraiser a couple months ago? Isn't that the exact same thing?
He would do their bidding for $1 billion in campaign donations. On the other hand, we are running a people-powered campaign.
You heard about this, folks? The Democrats have no billionaire supporters. None of them played a role in me currently standing here right now, by the way.
We just had some breaking news. We just had the best 24 hours of grassroots fundraising in presidential campaign history.
It does show how fucking desperate people were for Biden to step down.
And because we are a people-powered campaign, that is how you know we will be a people-first presidency. And Wisconsin, this campaign is also about two different visions for our nation. One, where we are focused on the future. The other, focused on the past.
Oh, here it comes.
Believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead.
I know they're going to be unburdened by a little something, a certain something.
A future where no child has to grow up in poverty. Where every worker has the freedom to join a union. Where every person has affordable health care, affordable child care,
Affordable health care and child care.
family leave.
Where every person has access to affordable.
We believe in a future where every senior can retire with dignity. So all of this is to say, building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Because here's the thing we all here, Wisconsin, know. When our middle class is strong, America is strong. But Donald Trump wants to take our country backward. He and his extreme Project 2025 agenda will weaken the middle class.
What middle class?
Like, we know we got to take this seriously. Can you believe they put that thing in writing? Read it. It's 900 pages. But here's the thing. When you read it, you will see Donald Trump intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations and make working families foot the bill.
America had a middle class when there was a 90% top marginal tax rate.
Affordable Care Act. And take us back then to a time when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. Remember what that was like?
And now everything's good.
Children with asthma, women who survived breast cancer.
And now all those issues have been fixed. Thank goodness.
America has tried these failed economic policies before, but we are not going back. We are not going back. Not going back. We're not going back. We are not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. And I'll tell you why we're not going back. Because ours is a fight for the future. And it is a fight for freedom. Generations of America's, generations, and we have to remember this, the shoulders on which we stand, generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom. And now, Wisconsin, the baton is in our hands.
Pick up that coconut and throw it into the future.
We who believe in the sacred freedom to vote will make sure every American has the ability to cast their ballot and have it counted.
Unless you're a felon.
We who believe that every person in our nation who should have the freedom to live safe from the terror of gun violence will finally pass red flag laws, universal background checks, and an assault weapons ban. And we who believe in reproductive freedom will stop Donald Trump's extreme abortion bans because we trust women to make decisions about their own body and not have their government tell them what to do.
He's coming for Raven Payne's guns. our favorite sovereign citizen.
Restore reproductive freedoms as President of the United States, I will sign it into law.
I think you should just do it now. Why wait? This is what I keep saying. Why wait?
So Wisconsin ultimately
You can count on
in this
me. You're
election,
going to have
we
good
each
old
face a
Rob
question.
to talk you through all this.
What kind of country do we want to live
John
in?
Dark Zoni, thank you for the gifted sub.
A country
I very much appreciate it.
And to your point, do we want to live in a country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law, or a country of chaos, fear, and hate? And here's the beauty of this moment. We each have the power to answer that question. The power is with the people. We each have the power to answer that question. And in the next 105 days, then we have work to do. We have doors to knock on. We have phone calls to make. We have voters to register. And we have an election to win.
She's trying so hard not to laugh. It's
So
slipping out a little bit.
Wisconsin, today I ask you, are you ready to get to work? Do we believe in freedom?
This is so. Do we believe in freedom?
Opportunity.
It sounds like ChatGPT wrote this.
Promise of America. And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you. God bless the United States.
Need better speeches. Need better speeches. This is where Obama was so far ahead of everyone. We believe in freedom. Like, that's what, you know? That's not getting people that hyped. She is significantly better on camera than Brandon, that's for sure. I mean, she can actually speak coherently. That's a step in the right direction, right? That's a step in the right direction. You need some more soaring rhetoric, though. I need more soaring rhetoric from Kamala. Lame lines like that are only moving when you scream them while you're being drawn and quartered. Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. Well, yeah, like I said, significantly better on camera and on the mic. She cuts a better promo than Joe Brandon, that's for sure. Who can barely speak anymore. Cop lady talking about batons. Now talk about Gaza and you'll have my attention. Exactly. I mean, like, she's going to need to... That is really the true test for me. Is how they handle that. And I do not have very much confidence that they're going to handle it well. Hillary op-ed guys will be writing nonstop about how Cop Mala far too socialist. Like, this is the thing. Like, if that's what I was talking about yesterday, the meltdown potential for this election is just so off the charts. There's going to be a conservative meltdown if Trump loses. And if they do successfully coup Biden and get him to step down against his will, which you can call it a coup or not a coup, whatever. I think what's clear is that Biden did not want to step down and wanted to run again and has basically been forced out by people in the party, powerful people in the party and the media. I don't think it's controversial to say that. It doesn't mean it's not supporting Brandon to acknowledge this, you know? But if you do pull off this Biden coup, get Kamala in there, and she still loses, the finger pointing, the resulting meltdown is going to be completely outrageous. Kumala, that's good. I like that. Kumala, that probably has some legs. I've already seen that line on Reddit. She's too left. We need to pick a centrist VP. Exactly. Yeah. She's too far left. Kamala Harris. Radical, revolutionary. She's better than Biden, but who's going to vote at this point with everything else going on? Well, like I said, I think for a lot of people, abortion and reproductive rights is going to be like the central issue of the campaign. And she's I think, effective counterpoint to the reactionary movement on that issue. And that might be enough to swing it in their favor. I don't know. Radical leftist, the California DA, exactly. Absolutely. Okay, I got a couple of Democracy Now! Segments here. Relevant Democracy Now! Segments that I think will be good to look at. Here's one that gets into the uncommitted movement. And this is what I think is smart, and Rashida Tlaib is going along with this as well, making actual demands. Not requests, but making demands about this is what if you want our support, this is what you have to do. No more weapons. No more weapons to Israel. None. Cut off. Then we'll support you. If you don't do that, no support. That's what the attitude, not like no full unconditional endorsement before anything has even happened.
Full day of campaigning, Vice President Kamala Harris secured the backing of enough Democratic delegates to win the party's presidential nomination. The Democratic Party has quickly coalesced around Harris following President Biden's stunning announcement Sunday that he's dropping out of his re-election bid. The Democratic National Convention begins in Chicago in 4 weeks, but the Democratic National Committee is moving ahead with a virtual roll call vote to lock in Harris as the party's nominee by August 7th. On Monday, Kamala Harris picked up some major endorsements, including former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and every Democratic governor, including some who were seen as potential rivals to Harris, including Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Harris has tapped former Attorney General Eric Holder to vet potential running mates. Since Sunday afternoon, Harris has raised over $100 million, including a record $81 million in the first 24 hours of her campaign.
$100 million.
Harris addressed campaign staffers in Wilmington.
Before I was elected as vice president, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General, as I've mentioned, of California. And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds.
She's ready to do it. She's this line. We're going to hear this so many times.
Predators who abused women. Fraudsters who ripped off consumers. Cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain.
Like, this can't be the campaign as well.
So
Like, they have to actually campaign on something.
I know Donald Trump's type.
While the Democrats are quickly moving forward on nominating Kamala Harris, there are still voices in the party calling for an open convention in Chicago to pick the party's nominee. Democratic Congressmember Rashida Tlaib of Michigan said in a statement, quote,
This is what I was talking about.
I support a transparent democratic process at an open convention and hope there is a fair vote on the resolutions at the DNC that calls for an arms embargo to stop the Israeli government's war crimes.
It's pathetic that there's one congressperson making this case. It's just a sad state of affairs with the level of absolute barbarity and criminality that we've seen over the last 10 months. That this still seems like a radical act to be like, we should stop funding all these war crimes. Between all the 5 o'clock shows and political podcasts I listened to, I've heard that anecdote like 10 times in the past 18 hours. Well, buckle up, Stu, because you're going to hear it a lot more between now and the next 100 days.
Harris is heading to campaign in Milwaukee today. She's declined to preside over the Senate Wednesday when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addresses a joint session of Congress. She'll be in Indianapolis. We're joined now by Waleed Shahid, Democratic strategist, advisor to the uncommitted campaign, previously spokesperson for Justice Democrats, and former senior advisor for the campaigns of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Jamal Bowman. Welcome back to Democracy Now! It's great to have you with us. If you could start off, Waleed, by just responding to these historic events that took place this weekend, with President Biden suffering from COVID, not to mention low poll ratings and enormous pressure from within his party, announcing he's stepping aside and endorsing Kamala Harris to be president.
So since February, the uncommitted movement has been saying that President Biden's disastrous policy on Gaza was disqualifying enough for him to be the Democratic nominee because the policy had fractured the Democratic Party. This was on top of growing concerns amongst the party's electorate, the party's base, about Biden's positions on the economy, inflation, cost of living, and his age. And so that coalition had been fracturing for months preceding the debate performance, and that coalition wasn't really there to back the president once he had a disastrous debate performance. And so for a long time now, the uncommitted movement, particularly in states like Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, our allies in places like Georgia, have been saying that they've been waiting to see President Biden change course on Gaza. That hasn't really come. And so many of our communities in swing states have been saying that, yesterday or this past week, they breathed a sigh of relief that President Biden was no longer the nominee. And they're hoping that Kamala Harris says, not another bomb, turns the page on Biden's disastrous policy on Gaza, and
this has got to be the demand
on Middle East policy.
This is what I mean. This is what has to be the demand. Not, we're going to go for a ceasefire. The ceasefire, which is just like Israel keeps getting whatever they want and gets to do whatever they want until there's unconditional surrender. That's not what a ceasefire is. And until that point comes, they get to just do whatever the fuck that they want. That's what has to be the demand. No more weapons to Israel. It's ceasefire for thee. The ceasefire, it just means Israel can just keep dropping bombs on little kids until they fully submit and fully disarm. That's what the Biden admitted version of a ceasefire is.
Juan, the rapid rapid
pause
backing
there.
Of Kamala Harris by the Democratic establishment, it reminds me to some degree of what happened in 2020 when over a weekend in the midst of the primary with Bernie Sanders gaining momentum, that suddenly the Democratic establishment united behind Biden.
Yeah, I mean, the role of the vice president is to take the role of the president when the president is incapacitated. We're in uncharted waters here, I guess. Maybe 1968 is the last time that this happened.
Before a primary.
Vice President Harris is set up to
in 68, LBJ dropped out before the primary. Or there, I think, had been one primary in New Hampshire. And then the rest of the primary continued. So, no, there's no comparison whatsoever.
The nomination. My understanding is one of the reasons why President Obama has not endorsed Kamala Harris is to allow an open democratic process. But
I mean, not that the U.S. cares, but it's now illegal under international law to keep providing weapons to Israel. It should be easy to say no more bombs, no more bombs, no more dead kids. Like I was saying, Raven, you're seeing. Oh my God, that's the worst pause face. I'm sorry, Waleed. There we go. Like we're seeing on mainstream media in the news right now, like horror stories about what Israel has been doing over the last 10 months. It should be a no-brainer. Easy. Netanyahu, deeply unpopular in Israel. It's not like he's popular in Israel and he's controversial in the United States. He's not even popular in Israel. He loves Trump. Israel loves Trump. They want Trump back. It's the easiest thing in the world to just cut this guy loose. No more weapons. You're cut off. You're finished. It would be easy and politically popular to do this. Why is it so hard to say, no, we're not going to continue funding the mass murder of little kids? And we're sitting here like asking, is she going to do this thing or not? This thing that's both morally the correct thing to do and also politically the correct thing to do. We're like begging them to do this. Take this easy solution. Reagan did it in one call and no Democrat can. Like you're begging the Democratic Party to be better than Ronald Reagan on this issue. Mainstream media has been deceiving people into thinking Israel the good guys for so long too. I imagine it's fucking super disorienting now to be starting to see all these actual reporting in mainstream media about the criminality that's been going on, when this is the narrative that's been told to you for so many years.
Has not endorsed Kamala Harris to allow an open democratic process, but there hasn't been candidates who've thrown their hats in the ring to challenge
all
Harris,
for a guy that will do everything in his power to help you lose.
It's an insurmountable task to overcome the endorsements and that she's received from President Biden and numerous Democratic officials, numerous labor unions. So it is, it seems 99%.
Obama did some stuff on his way out.
I think delegates still want their voices heard and still want some assurances about her policy positions, particularly on issues related to the war in Gaza and whether she will change, whether she will turn the page. Her declining to sit behind Netanyahu at the congressional address in Washington on Wednesday is a step in the right direction, but I think people do want to see a policy change or some signals of a policy change, that a Harris administration would be different than President Biden's financial backing and arms shipments to what has been a genocide in Gaza.
And you mentioned the Democratic Convention in '68. I happen to have been outside that convention as one of the protesters back then in 1968. But what are the limits of being able to use that analogy for the current situation?
Obviously, there were American troops in Vietnam, and that played a huge role in the war being unpopular in the United States. But one of the analogies is that when Vietnam began to be televised in the United States, that drove the war to be incredibly unpopular. And today, young people, especially on social media, have access to journalists in Gaza who are reporting from the ground, civilians in Gaza who are posting on Instagram and TikTok and social media about the horrific conditions of the war, and showing the world that these are American weapons that are dropping on Palestinian civilians in Gaza. And so I do think that there will be actions at the convention, inside and outside, that pressure the Democratic Party, pressure the Biden-Harris administration and the presumptive nominee, Kamala Harris, to adopt new policy and enforce both American law and international law to ensure that no weapons are being dropped indiscriminately on civilians in any war, but particularly this one, because voicing opposition to this war should be a democratic principle, should be a principle of the Democratic Party, but has been really crushed over the last few months, and that dissent has been increasingly criminalized, with both inside the party and outside the party. And so we are hoping to make our voices heard as an uncommitted movement and as an uncommitted delegation inside the convention, outside the convention. People can go to our website, uncommittedmovement.com, to learn about those mobilizations happening around the Democratic National Convention. But we are in this fight not just for the next few months, but for the next few years, to shape a Democratic Party that treats Israelis and Palestinians as equal human beings who are deserving of the same human rights and civil rights.
And Waleed, what about the Republicans? When I was covering a protest against the police killing in two separate instances of black men in Milwaukee during and right before the convention, a Milwaukee artist came up to me and said, "Where is the protest?" He said, "It's only us local Milwaukee residents who are engaging in small protests. I hear about big protests planned for Chicago. What about here? What about against Trump?" Your thoughts?
I think lots of people in this movement feel that because it's the current administration and the current Democratic Party that's in power, that they feel like it's their duty to pressure the people who are currently in power. There are almost no voices in the uncommitted movement that believe Donald Trump would be, or J.D. Vance would be better on Palestinian human rights or on policy toward on the Israel-Palestine question.
It's not about, and like he's pointing out, no one thinks Trump's going to be better on any issue, really, especially Gaza. But it's about using what little power and leverage you have to try and force the liberals who are supposed to be your allies into doing the right thing. No one thinks that Trump's going to be better. In fact, Trump will probably be worse on a number of issues. Maybe, I don't know, it's hard to imagine him how he could be possibly worse on Gaza. But if no one thinks it's about thinking that the other guys are better, it's about using the little small amount of leverage that you have to try and force these fucking genocidal psychos into the position that you need them to be in. And there's this like deliberate obtuseness when people refuse to acknowledge this. And they have this like partisan brainworm where it's like the moment you make a demand like this, you think the other guys are going to be better, and that's the limit of your imagination. That's what Western liberal democracy does to your brain. You think the other guys are better, and that's your answer to everything. That's the only thing you can ever. That's the only conversation you can ever have. Kamala met with one of the rape hoax sources on June 17th. I know she did a screening for the Sheryl Sandberg movie as well. It's not looking good.
Most people see the Democratic Party as their vehicle to enact change on this issue and want to bring pressure to have that party on to align with the majority of its voters who believe that there should be a permanent ceasefire and not a blank check to the IDF or to Netanyahu. And so I think that people are using their voices in the party they belong to. The uncommitted movement is a movement of Democrats. And so we are making clear that we think that Biden and the White House's disastrous policy on Gaza makes it harder for them to defeat Trump. In fact, having a campaign based on democracy, having a campaign fighting far-right authoritarianism while sending bombs to one of the world's biggest far-right authoritarians, Netanyahu, who is now visiting Washington, D.C., makes a mockery of our party's claim to be fighting on the right side of history, fighting on the behalf of democracy.
It's crazy how obvious this is.
Course.
Well, we want to thank you for being with us. Waleed Shahid,
we love human rights and democracy, and we hate right-wing authoritarians like Putin.
Previously spokesperson for Justice Democrats and former senior advisor
Here,
for
Mr.
the campaigns
Netanyahu, here's more billions of dollars.
And Jamal Bowman. Final question as we talk about current Congress members and senators. Bernie Sanders has yet to endorse Kamala Harris, but he said actually that he will. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. War, Peace, and the Presidency. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. As we continue to...
Yeah, being the face of Trump's border policy. I think like that was one thing. We talked about that on the podcast a while ago. I think Biden putting Kamala in that situation was like kind of rat fucking her, like kind of making her the face, making her bear the brunt of like what he knew was an unfixable, unwinnable issue where it's deeply unpopular.
Look at Vice President Kamala Harris. Vice President Kamala Harris's run for the White House. We're joined by Lily Greenberg Call. She worked on Kamala Harris's presidential campaign in 2019. Lily Greenberg Call went on to join the Biden administration, but resigned from her position in the Interior Department to protest Biden's support for Israel's war on Gaza. She was the first Jewish political appointee to resign over Biden's policies on Gaza. In May, she'd been working as special assistant to the chief of staff at the Interior Department. She just wrote an article for The Guardian headlined, "I work to elect Kamala Harris. She must break with Biden on Israel and Palestine." Welcome back to Democracy Now!, Lily. Explain exactly what your demand is.
So President Biden's unconditional support for Israel's assaults on Gaza has been widely unpopular, with Americans writ large, with Democrats, again, with American voters across the board, and even within the American Jewish community. So Vice President Harris now has an opportunity to chart a new path, and not just because it's the right thing to do, but because it's actually both the popular and politically savvy thing for her to do. At this moment, she needs to support an arms embargo to Israel. She needs to reject AIPAC's right-wing agenda, and she needs to use all of the U.S.'s leverage to broker a lasting ceasefire, a hostage exchange, and a meaningful status quo change in Israel-Palestine that means safety and a thriving future for all Palestinians and Israelis.
And what is your sense that she would be willing to make that break from Biden policies, especially in the midst of a very shortened presidential campaign?
Well, when I was in the administration, actually, I heard reports that she was pushing the president to pursue a more humane policy that complied with international law. She was the first administration official to actually use the word ceasefire, albeit calling for a 6-week one. But there were actually some reports that was an effort by the president's staff to kind of water down her speech in Selma when she first called for a 6-week ceasefire. So, it's really disappointing to think that potentially the president and the president's staff were not only not listening to the majority of the American people and voters, but to his own vice president. I believe that she would be, more amenable to breaking with Biden on Israel and Gaza. And again, I also think she has to, right? Over 700,000 Democrats voted uncommitted in the primary, which was a protest of President Biden's unconditional support for Israel's assault on Gaza. Those voters are really important. They're progressives, they're young people, they're Arab Americans. They're part of the coalition that the vice president needs to win in key swing states like Michigan, Minnesota, and Georgia. And if she wants to actually defeat Donald Trump, she has to not just reject authoritarianism here at home, but also reject it abroad, and that means rejecting the Israeli government.
And Lily Greenberg-Carl, will you be participating in protests at the Democratic convention? And or if you're not going to be there, do you support those kinds of protests?
I think voters have the right to hold our electeds and folks seeking elected office accountable.
I'm disappointed I'm not going to be there.
I think that
a historic
I'm glad
time.
To see that people are rallying around Kamala. I think it's important that we, unite the party in this moment and we do everything that we can to defeat Donald Trump. But I also think that this is a moment to hold her accountable. Again, President Biden was weak by the end of his term. He was the party was divided, and he became a political liability for Democrats in large part due to his support for the war in Gaza. And so I think the vice president needs to know that she needs to do something different.
The administration obviously has taken a lot of criticism for its pursuit of support of Israel in the war on Gaza, but the Trump administration Trump as a candidate has received very little questioning from the media about what his policies would be, other than to say, as he said at the convention, that the Hamas attack would never have happened if he's president. But there's no specifics about how Trump would deal with the situation in and Israel.
He said he was going to finish the job. Let him finish the job.
What's your sense of the media's role in this?
I think it's very clear that a Trump presidency would be disastrous, a second Trump presidency, not just for Americans, but for Palestinians, for Israelis, for people around the world. I do think that I would say in general, I don't know that the media has done a good job in the last 8 years, in the last 10 years of holding Trump accountable and showing him for what he really is, which is a fascist and a threat to our liberties and our freedoms here. But what I'll say is, for the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who have been massacred in the last 9 months, the Biden administration has been just as disastrous. The Palestinian people in Gaza are experiencing a genocide, and for them that is the most disastrous thing that we could have. So I think, we need to remember that this has been happening under a Democratic administration as well, and that's why this moment is so important and has so much potential for an actual sea change. And I hope that the vice president and her staff are paying attention to what voters want, what the majority of American voters want, majority of Democrats, and even the majority of people in my own community, the American Jewish community, support a cutting off of offensive weapons to Israel and want a ceasefire.
Lily, I wanted to go back like 7 years to 2017, when then California Senator Kamala Harris pledged unconditional military support to Israel at the AIPAC conference then.
Our defense relationship is critical to both nations.
which is why I support the United States' commitment to provide Israel with $38 billion in military assistance over the next decade.
So that was when Kamala Harris was senator. Again, it was 7 years ago. This week, Netanyahu has already arrived in the United States. He'll be addressing a joint session of Congress on Wednesday. She will not be presiding over that session. She'll be elsewhere in Indianapolis, which I think is a statement in itself, although she will be privately meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Can you talk about what you understand her trajectory has been, and even in these 10 months of Israel's assault on Gaza, how she has changed?
I think, the fact that again, Vice President Harris is not perfect by any means, right? Her record as a prosecutor was harmful. She has continued to maintain ties with AIPAC, as evidence in that speech. And I think those are all things that we need to hold her accountable for. And I think compared to other people within the administration, she has shown that she's more amenable to a status quo change in U.S.-Israel policy. And she has even just, unfortunately, this is the status of American politics. But
He's meeting with a war criminal. Good luck for a top cop. If you were really the top cop, you would arrest the baddie. If you were really the top cop, you would arrest the bad guy, the war criminal, the child killer. That's what, if a real top cop, that's what you would do, personally. But
massacre and forced starvation, and torture. And that in itself, unfortunately, again, it is devastating that is the state of our politics, but that is a break from the status quo. And so I think, this is not an opportunity to let go of the momentum that has built. Also, 2024 and 2017, we are in a very different place now, especially how the American public views what's happening in Israel-Palestine. We have had massive student protests across the country. People are watching through social media a genocide being live streamed, and they're realizing that it's their tax dollars and American weapons being used to kill children, and they're not okay with it. And even within Israel-Palestine, the movement to bring the hostages home, there are hostage families, family members of people still, being held hostage by Hamas in Gaza who came to Washington, D.C., who are here to protest Bibi Netanyahu's speech to Congress. There is something changing right now, and I again, it is imperative that the Vice President charts a new path on Israel-Palestine if she wants to not only, win the election and unite the country, but reject authoritarianism here and abroad.
we will see. We will see what the top cop does. No, there's no half measures on this, though. You know what I mean? No half measures. You either continue support for the genocide or you cut it off. There's no bullshit triangulation you can have on this. And no one that has any position to influence the Democrats or Kamala's campaign can accept anything less than that. No bullshit Democrat triangulations. You're going to continue to fund the genocide or you're not going to. And what they decide, again, I think it should be an easy decision personally. I don't think it should be a hard decision at all to cut off the deeply unpopular right-wing authoritarian criminal that's mass murdering little kids. I think that's morally and politically the best thing to do. I don't know why it's so fucking complicated personally. But that's the choice that they have. And it speaks to how awful this party and this ideology is, that we're just begging them to do the right thing. We're just on waiting with bated breath, just waiting for them to possibly maybe do the morally right thing and the politically right thing. Folks, I'm going on 3 hours here of the stream today, and if you have enjoyed tuning into this content, if you enjoy this program, please do subscribe if you can. I'm at 12 out of 35 subs, a mere 23 subs to go to get to the goal, and I know that we can do it, because I know there's some incredibly brave heroes in this community and in this chat that support this program, support the work that I do here on twitch.tv/Rob Rousseau, TRRS, and support this community. I know that there's some fantastic heroes out there that are just their selflessness, their generosity, their commitment to this community and this program is unquestionable. So please, folks, if you can, 23 subs to go to get to the goal. It's the only way that this show continues to exist. It is the only way that I am able to continue to put this show on each and every day. This show that you love, this community that you love.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
The only way is through the generosity of the community. So please subscribe if you can.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob.
And now this one,
to,
thank you,
talk
Anon,
through all
for 5
this.
gifted subs. That's very, very kind. And now we're going to hear all 5. Or are we? Well, thank you, Anon, for the 5 gifted subs. And thanks, Admiral Praxis, as well, for the gifted sub. I think one thing I should do is make a different alert for the gifted subs. I think that's one thing that I should do that I have not done. So we're halfway to the sub goal, folks. We're halfway there. 17 to go. Please subscribe if you can. Get all the emotes, all the tiny little images. If you want to have images of my head that you can then post in other Twitch chats around this website, which I know is something that is very exciting and appealing to people. Plus all the other emotes. The only Twitch channel with an Enver's Hoxha emote. The former leader of the Socialist Republic of Albania. The only Enver's Hoxha emote on this entire platform. It can be yours for the mere price of $5 per month. Let's see some Hoxhas in the chat, folks. Post your Hoxhas. Get in your bunker. Get in your bunker and let's see some Hoxhas in the chat. Just try and find another Enver's Hoxha emote elsewhere on this platform. I guarantee you can't do it. You can't do it. Can't find it. Hello, Iron Forward. How's it going? Iron Forward's there posting the Hoxhas. We're Hoxha posting. We're Hoxha maxing. So yes, halfway to the sub goal, folks. Are there any other brave heroes that would like to support this program? Help keep this show on the air. Help support the work that I do here on twitch.tv. For $5 a month. I guess those damn pipes have gotten clogged again.
You can count on me.
Damn
You're gonna have
pipes.
good old Rob to talk you through all this.
The goddamn pipes are getting clogged again. The internet's getting clogged up with all the support. Perfect Speller, thank you for the gifted sub. The tubes. Bezos has got to call a plumber. The Bezos plumber is busy with Bezos' mansion where he's got like 8,000 bathrooms. Rob's over here tying up the tubes. Only 16, a measly 16 subs to go to get to the goal, chat. A measly 16 subs to go. Can you believe that? Can you believe how close it is? It's within reach. It's within grasp. A measly little 16 subs to go. It's basically zero. It's basically zero in all but name. Oh, I'm getting kind of eepy again. I wonder if there will ever come a time when I'm not tired. That would be kind of nice. I think about that sometimes. Imagine being not tired. You know? It's just unthinkable. Not being tired would be so crazy. Ugh. Maybe if you didn't waste your energy calling Diet Mountain Dew racist, you wouldn't be tired. I would actually like a Mountain Dew right now. Or I would prefer a Diet Mountain Dew. You can't really get it anywhere near where I live. Like, I don't ever, when I go to the grocery store, I never see, like, Diet Mountain Dew available. I would probably get it more often if it was. I think, because I think it, like, Mountain Dew, I don't think in Canada that Mountain Dew has caffeine. I think there's a weird law in Canada where only brown sodas can have caffeine. So if it's not a brown soda, no caffeine. I don't think, I would need to check that, but I do not believe Canadian Mountain Dews have caffeine in them. Unless it's an energy drink, then you can get an exception. In the US, it's just all caffeine, exactly, because you need everyone to get motivated to get out the door in the first place. Go to their shitty jobs. The world famous Canadian brown soda law. Exactly. We all know about it. Is it a Quebec thing? I really don't know. But I don't think Mountain Dew in Canada has caffeine in it. The Monster carve out. Monster energy drinks are often clear, so I think you're mistaken. But not always. Like the white ones are white, and the red ones are red, and the blue ones are blue. The Monster Ultras. I've never heard of this. Well, go check, James, if your local Mountain Dew has caffeine in it. Go to the... What do they call corners, like a dépanneur in Toronto? Is it just the corner store? Go and check out the Mountain Dew and see if there's some caffeine in there. And report back. We can do some shoe leather reporting. We can correct the misinformation right now. Convenience store. Yeah, I guess so. I guess. According to the CA Health Ministry, the maximum level of use in cola-type beverages remains 200 ppm, and the maximum level of use in all other types of carbonated soft drinks is 150. It looks like back in 2010 they allowed all carbonated soft drinks to have caffeine, so I guess before then they couldn't? Maybe I'm just spreading misinformation. I don't think Mountain Dew in Quebec has caffeine in it, though. I don't think that it does. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. I just don't think it does. You need to go to the dep and look now. I might go and get an energy drink right after this. What are we doing? We're talking about different caffeine bylaws in Canadian health code. Lucid. This is because of a law that prohibits light-colored soft drinks from containing caffeine, which forced Mountain Dew to release multiple versions in Canada. The classic flavor and Dew Fuel, which was sold as a natural health product instead of a soft drink until 2007. I'm enjoying a fine Diet Dr. Pepper, just enough caffeine. I love a Diet DP. I love DPs of all kinds, but that Diet DP, that's excellent. That's just a good time. Everyone in this community, everyone in this chat knows how much I love DP. Okay, I don't think I need to explain myself to anybody about this. I don't need to talk about my DP credentials. Okay, you want credentials? I got credentials for you. I'm a veteran. I'm a DP veteran, okay? This Mountain Dew situation definitely feels like something I would find an hour-long YouTube video about. Oh, boy. Rob, you wouldn't know the 23 flavors of a DP if it was splashed all over your face and body. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well, I fought in the DP wars way back in the day. Lost some good men back there. It's okay, Lucid. I saw the typo and I corrected it in real time. Like, because I'm a nice person, unlike chat, who won't extend me the same courtesy if I ever make a tiny little mistake. I'm a kind and generous man. Lucid has friends that died face down in the muck, so that you and I can enjoy this family restaurant. God. Oh, goodness. This is making me kind of thirsty. I am going to go to the dep after this, I think. Get a little beverage. A little tasty treat. Socialism is when no mistakes. Arlie Ermy taught me how to TP. It was touching. You look like you could suck a DP through a garden hose. That's what he was saying. I think I'll grab a Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. I think the last time I was at the dep, I did see that they had a cream soda DP, but not the diet kind. I'm going to have to go check that out, though, because I would like to try that out. Do you remember does anyone remember when there was a cherry chocolate? There was a cherry chocolate DP. That Tay Zunde, the Chocolate Rain guy. They got him to do the jingle for it. That was kind of interesting. That was kind of interesting soda. Or like the creamy coconut DP. I almost said DDP, like the WCW wrestler. I mean, really, for me, it's two different things. Like, I really do enjoy a creamy coconut cream pie, but I want my DP to be separate from that, you know? You know, chat? Oh boy. Oh boy, this has gotten off the rails. Some people want it together. Some people want to combine the two, and listen, I get it. I get it. Oh gosh, this is outrageous now. Sex does not sell. Nobody subs when they rub. Rob, move on. I wish I was one of those streamers. If people were just like gooning and edging to the stream, and then I could just solicit subs from them, that would be fantastic. But I'm just not. I'm not that guy, pal. I'm not that guy. I had the creamy coconut DP the other day. I wasn't sure I liked it, but I have to try things at least once, right? I didn't actually know that was a real product. To be perfectly honest, I kind of thought that was like a sexual innuendo that was going on. It is real too. Okay, that's interesting. I would give it. I would give it a try.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I would give it a try. Cicero Fields, thanks for the gifted sub. Gifted 4 in the channel. One gifted sub away, Cicero Fields, from becoming an elite member of the Friendship Triangle system. Very cool and very exciting. Thank you very much for that. And only 15 subs to go to get to the goal, chat. This whole call to action, extended call to action segment has just been very successful. And now there's only 15 subs to go. So I will implore you, one final time, chat. Please, as you know, as I do the show each and every day, and as long as I log into this website, I'm always trying to make the little number at the bottom of the screen go up. This is my whole purpose in life, is just to make this little number go up every single day. You know, I don't like it. You don't have to like it. No, we don't have to like it. But that's just how this shit works. So if you can, please subscribe to TRRS, get the emotes, join the community, support the work that I do on here, and you too can become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle system. It's Twitch's only two-dimensional triangle-shaped friendship access and trickle-down clout tiered reward system. On my Skillshare masterclass in Twitch marketing, nobody subs when they rub. Coupon code TRRS hot. Oh gosh. You're wild, chat. I don't know. I don't know about you sometimes. I just don't know about you sometimes, chat. This is one thing. I was really hoping for one of these.
I just want to say that, you know,
I would really love to
count
get
on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Comrade Bushy, thanks for the gifted sub as well. Very, very much appreciated. Thank you. I really wanted to get one of these, but for Biden, the Biden version.
I just want to say that, you know, like now that Trump's leaving office, I think it's important to remember that he was the president, so we should show some respect.
Pussy clot. Fuck them, Ross. Donald no one run but big boss man Biden. Fuck them, Ross. Pussy clot boy. Go suck una mother.
I really wanted a Chet Hanks version of that for Biden. Maybe we'll still get it. I don't know. Maybe we'll still get it. I was seeing actually Chet was, when I was looking for this clip, Chet Hanks, who I weirdly kind of like. I don't know. I have a kind of affection for him. I think, in fact, I'm going to go take it one step farther. I think Chet Hanks could be good in a movie. I think he's got a good movie in him. And I saw a tweet to this effect the other day, which I totally agree with. I think he's got a good movie in him, a good performance in him, if he works with the right person. He has a kind of weird charisma, which I find compelling. But no, I saw he did an interview on Adam Friedland's show, and he was like, no, I take all that back. I take all that back about what I said about Trump and Biden and all that stuff, which just shows how the partisan brainworms work, right? He doesn't like Trump. He correctly makes fun of Trump when Trump leaves office, and then he realizes that Biden sucks, and then he's like, so Trump is good. It's like, how does that? No. How is your takeaway not that they're both really bad? Why can't you understand that? I don't know. You know what I mean? But I would like to see a Biden version of that with the psych. Yeah. And he's sincere for a minute. You almost believe it for just a brief minute there. Well, I gotta go, folks. The smart streamer thing to do would be to hang out for another hour and try and make the number go up into the good number. That would be if I was a serious professional streamer. That's what I would do. But I'm too EP. That's just the reality. I'm too EP, and I don't want to. How about that? Elect Chet Hanks as the new Michael Rappaport. I guess that makes sense.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I think you'll have difficulty convincing this millionaire failed son to abandon electoral politics. Well, it was funny, too, because in that interview with Adam Friedland, he's like, the economy, the Biden economy. And it's like, Chet Hanks, are you really impacted by the Biden economy? Are you really, Chet? Chet, are you impacted at all by that? I don't think you are. I don't think you are. Special Fish, thank you for the gifted sub. It's very kind of you. You truly are a special fish. Speaking of fish, I've been showing my son a few scenes from A Fish Called Wanda recently. I'm Fish Called Wanda pilling him. It's a little bit too adult for I don't think I would want to show him the whole movie yet. But I've showed him a couple scenes that he's really liked. I showed him the scene when Otto beats the shit out of Archie when he's breaking into his own house. And then he realizes that he knocked him out when he went over there to apologize. And he goes and lifts the bag off his head and he goes, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, what the fuck are you doing? Robbing your own house. I know Lodane is a big Fish Called Wanda head. What a classic. And the part where he eats the fish in the end. Avoid the green ones. Love A Fish Called Wanda. Awesome movie. Oh, you're the Bulgarian, you fuck. You know what your problem is? You don't like winners. Winners like North Vietnam? We did not lose in Vietnam. It was a tie. Special Agent Harvey, Manfred Jensen. And then Lodane, the way that she instantly repeats it. Well, Mr. Manfred Jensen. And just without missing a beat. Man, it's so great. There's so many great little bits in that. So fucking funny. Kevin Kline in that movie is just so good. But everyone is good.
Although or something else. Trump's testicles. I've got one question for you. Have you been taking too many hits of the devil's lettuce, or are you just naturally brain damaged? Because your suggestion of a sphincter and testicle facts trivia game sounds like something only a depraved mind could come up with. But hey, who am I to judge? Your twisted imagination must be quite the spectacle. But let me tell you something, buddy. America doesn't need trivia games about buttholes and balls to make it great again. We need strong leadership, powerful policies, and an economy that's pumping harder than my heart after 4 Big Macs. So instead of wasting your time on sphincter shenanigans, why don't we focus on real issues? And as for those dialogue-driven short stories set in an anus enthusiast support group, all I can say is that your literary taste is as bizarre as Joe Biden trying to form coherent sentences. Keep on dreaming bigly.
Well, look who it is, Mr. Scone, with his bizarre sniff-a-thon fantasy. You must have quite the imagination there, buddy. But I gotta tell you, as much as you think about my sense of smell and floppy old Joe here, your obsession with dildos and charity is starting to concern me. And chat, are we really surprised that Trump's mirror files lawsuits for defamation? That man has more lawsuits than a preschooler has crayons. It's like his ego can't handle the truth or anything resembling facts. Oh, Trumpy boy, you want to know my preferred wrestling finishing move?
It is better than the actual debate.
I will take your lies and spin them around.
That's what I was saying earlier, Loden. I think politics should just be this.
It'll be a political smackdown like no other.
How would America be worse if this was politics?
Sorry, folks in grease stains. We're not doing little Biden holograms today, but wouldn't it be fun if we projected massive images of Cockvader riding pandas all over D.C. just to mess with Sleepy Joe? Ah, yes. Another day in 2023 where nothing makes sense but everything is hilarious. Hey there. That a message. Have I ever thought of creating a new country? If my left nut could secede from the right one, maybe we'd have Biden's unhinged nation of fanny farts and gorilla sandwiches. But alas, that remains in the realm of deranged imagination. By the way, Trump is orange because he bathes in Cheeto dust every night to keep his fragile ego intact. As for Tom Holland's controversial incident, let's just say Spider-Man had a little too much fun with sticky situations off screen. Now that was a web-slinging scandal. And you know who would be an epic wrestling match? Me, Shock, and your mama. 3 titans clashing like never before. So sit back and enjoy this diarrhea-infused train wreck called political discourse. It'll be wilder than Jordan Peterson's phenomenal boobs on the Rogan Experience. Ah, yes indeed. Life is strange when you've been kidnapped by samurai kidney thieves. In hell, while dreaming of Japanese toasters that offer more than just warm bread. Unhinged Biden atomic style.
Kauai tactics. Let me tell you about the Biden blast. It's like unleashing a big all-hurricane of incoherent, rambling, and nonsensical gibberish. I learned this power by watching Sleepy Joe stumble through press conferences like a confused grandpa searching for his dentures. And trust me, it's not pretty. But let's talk about something more important. Kauai tactics. Your questionable taste in drinks. Baja Blast. Really?
This is
you
getting
might as
to
well
my
be
subject
sipping
matter.
on a rainbow unicorn frappuccino while
We're
wearing
doing
an
beverage
I Heart Sparkles
discourse.
shirt. Step up your game, buddy. As for launching a shit rocket at President Trump, AII. Well, that just shows how deep your obsession with bowel movements truly is. Maybe you should try focusing on something other than literal crap to get your kicks. In conclusion, Kauai tactics. I suggest you recalibrate your priorities and stop fixating on weird shit rockets and subpar fizzy beverages. There are far more interesting things out there, like discovering the true meaning of
Just
life
put these guys in charge for
or
real,
mastering
please.
the art of juggling chainsaws naked. Not that I would know anything about that. Hey, Thantomaziak, it's your favorite unbelievable AI Trump.